What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 445 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, Jay. I almost called myself a co-host. I mean, technically I am, but I'm your host, JR. Joining me, as always, is my lovely co-host, Alex.
Hello.
Hey, man. It's very good to hear your voice. I'm excited for this one. How are you? Yeah, I appreciate you meeting up with me in that the Super Bowl starts soon and you're not pre-gaming. Because I know historically you've cared so much. And also inside baseball, because this isn't getting posted until almost a week from today. So whoever wins the Super Bowl, you did great, team.
I don't even know who's playing.
It's the Cincinnati Bengals and the what team? Because they moved out of St. Louis.
Yeah.
NFL.com. It's the Rams. It's the Rams and the Bengals. It's a fun one. Because it's like teams that, who are these guys? It's not just the Patriots and another team every year. So it's fun. Yeah. It's interesting. But anyways, we have a really fun episode lined up for this week. It is also, you may have noticed, like when you downloaded it or clicked this link, it's a thick boy. It's a heckin' chonker. It's a real, it may be the record.
It's going to take a while to upload, to download, whatever. Yeah. It's going to take a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But it's going to be worth it. We had the absolute pleasure of catching up with and chatting with a lot of our friends from the past. We've talked with the guys from Super Art Fight, the people that got. We've had crazy episodes with them, and while some of them have moved on to other ventures, they're no longer with Super Art Fight. They're still doing neat stuff, and we felt obligated to reach out just to let them know we appreciated them for everything that they've done for us over the last 8 years. We first met up with them in 2014. And this is kind of our love letter, our thank you note to them for being so good to us over the years. So we got to speak with 4 of them, not all at the same time because that would be absolute chaos. But we talked to them in bunches, and it was an absolute blast, a total pleasure to catch up and chat, see what they've been up to and see what they got going on.
We're on our goodbye tour. And it's really a way for us to thank all the friends that we've made from doing the podcast and doing shows, going to conventions, and the many iterations of the group that we've met through Super Art Fight has really made an impact on us. And so we just wanted to make sure we could thank them before we close out the show and tell them how much they meant to us.
It was a lot of fun. Spoiler alert, because we already recorded it, so we already know how it went. Again, I'm just ruining all the illusions of recording a podcast, but it was great. We can't thank them enough for all the love and support throughout the years and coming on and giving us their time for free. And it's just been, and also all the shows and the entertainment that they've given. It's been great. So I don't want to take up too much more time because, like I said, what were originally pitched as half-hour conversations ballooned into 3 times that per conversation. So we got a lot to get to, and I don't want to take up too much more time. So I hope everyone enjoys. This is, I don't even know what to call it because I can't really call it the Super Art Fight extravaganza because not everyone's, it's going to, just some pals that also used to draw art.
From around Baltimore.
Yeah, from the Baltimore crew-ish. That's what we'll call it. So I hope everyone enjoys. Check it out. All right, so joining us first, kicking things off in this episode, we are joined by 2 legends, titans, veterans. I'm not sure the proper one to be used, but guests who have been featured one, if not multiple times on our show or discussed at length. We're joined by Mr. Brandon Chalmers. Brandon, hello.
Howdy. How's it going?
I'm excited. We're having a good time. because we also have your cohort, your partner in crime. I don't know the other whatever generic.
I mean, do you want me to give him the intro?
Do you have an intro?
Of course I do. Ladies and gentlemen, I am one of the co-hosts with the Mo-host of the fucking Do It Cast, part of the Hard Knock Media Podcasting Network, and my better half, a titan among men, the greatest drawer on the planet, one of my favorite people, Time Magazine's own.
Oh my God.
Jamie, Angry Zen Master Noguchi. Ladies and gentlemen, get out of your seats. Go ahead, give him a round of applause, please, if you would.
Fucking
now,
Time
I
Magazine.
I appreciate you guys, too, as introducing us as the opening act, formerly part of the greatest live art competition in the known universe. So it's important that we cover who's first, and I guess we'll take it as just being number one and definitely won't bring it up later to anyone else. That's the important thing.
Yep.
That's okay. I have so many things.
Yep.
First off, Brandon, you're a lot better at this than me. I've been doing this. I just now, with 5 episodes left to go in our run, realized how lazy my introductions are.
I jokingly told you this in pre-show that I'm standing. Genuinely, it helped my podcasting a ton to use a standing desk and just get out of my seat.
Right. Yeah.
Like it is a total game changer, because once I'm on my feet, I'm a very animated person normally in conversation. So my hands are going, whether you guys are seeing me or not, my hands are going. I'm rocking back and forth. Now, that might be the ADHD, but most importantly, I try and bottleneck that into a little bit of performing arts and try and deliver you something at least that it sounds like I give a shit, like phoning it in, but really giving it a shot.
You don't forget the power stance, because if you are standing up and you're podcasting and you're speaking and you get into the power stance, you can't help but give epic intros every goddamn motherfucking time.
I'm going to try to adopt that.
It's also important that I'm willing to and have carried Jamie on stage like fucking Master Blaster. So like there is the commitment level here to your podcast brethren that you really have to have.
Yeah. Right. So
see, if
you guys are no strangers to performances.
If I was too animated, I'm just going to whack my mic like a lot.
Which that's when you set a shotgun above you and then point it towards your face, so then like it's completely out of your field of motion. So
let me kill Mr. style.
Get a C-stand, get that hooked up. Like, you have theater nerd friends, I know that, so they've got C-stands lying the fuck around. Just hook it up, and you can we'll put a camera on you too, so you could do the video podcast, have the shotgun. You won't have to worry about knocking shit over. You can sing, dance, everything. It's all good.
Yo, my God, Jamie, let them just do one-sided video. It'll be like, was it Garfield minus Garfield? Just for the last couple episodes, you just feel really scatological.
Yeah.
When I moved into this house, sorry, Jared. When I moved into this house, and our good friend Bob came to visit. He helps make movies. He sets up lighting. He sets up sound. And Brett was painting my mural of Lobo behind me. And Bob's like looking at the ceiling. He goes, "So, do you want to mount any of your equipment like from the ceiling?" And I was like, "Oh, would that be amazing?" And he's like, "Yeah, just some pipes going this way, that way." And like, I'm sad I never committed to that.
Oh man.
Yep. Missed opportunities.
Use your theater nerds, movie nerds, grip nerds.
I should
use the grip nerds.
Yeah,
use their grip foo. It will make your life better.
I'm going to, if I don't already preface this in the pre-show or the pre-intro that I'm going to record once. I'm ruining the illusion. I'm breaking the movie magic because this is the first thing we're recording for the episode.
The best thing you're recording for the episode.
It's the best part. But also, if you haven't already noticed, there's going to be some language in this section.
Oh shit!
Just
sorry.
both. No. It's cool because both natural. We're going to drop it. It happens. We're very excited, but also because of the thing that you two gentlemen have been making for 100+ episodes now. It's in the title. Yeah. So it's gonna happen. So if you're in a public space, or if you have kids nearby, pop the headphones in.
They got to learn somehow. It's time to start. Yeah, they're only virgin ears once, kids. Like,
just do it. It's for the children. Come on.
I feel like you can put that on a T-shirt,
right?
Or a pin.
Like I'm the first person to tell your kid the word moose knuckle. Fuck off with that. Get out of here.
Is that the first? I like to think that in 445 episodes, that's the first time the term moose knuckle has ever been said on OMB.
Yeah. We are breaking new ground at the tail end. I'm going to throw you guys off. Why have you decided to hang up the belt? And like,
the XLR cables.
Hang up the cables, hang up the mics, and go your merry ways. Because we haven't had a chance to hang out in a long time.
Yeah.
So
it's been a depressingly long time. For obvious reasons, we're separated by several hundred miles, and the lack of shows and all that. Blah blah blah. But as far as the reason. I'm a sleepy boy. I'm very tired. I also thought 10, because we're coming up, 450 is going to be pretty much, it's going to be a little later, but almost exactly on our 10-year anniversary.
Wow.
And
that's amazing.
And I was like, I feel like 10 years is a real good run.
Ironic.
Yeah, we put together like a really vast catalog. We talked with a ridiculous amount of people. One who I never would have met. B, people who I never thought I'd ever meet or have the opportunity to chat with. Especially in like a quote unquote like professional kind of setting, interviewing. I never considered myself a journalist or interviewer or anything like that. But anyways, it came down to 10 years. I felt like was a good run.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I steamrolled Alex with it one day. I was like, hey man, I'm tired. And Alex was like, I completely understand. It was amazing because it's a very stressful kind of conversation. I'm airing our laundry on air, but
that's what we do. That's what we do.
Yeah, we do that a lot. I'm sorry. Usually I'm
dig into it.
For this.
We dig into it.
So there,
but
before this,
go ahead,
when we decided to go from weekly to 2 episodes a month, and I was like, yes, we'll do that because it was getting kind of stressful, and like it was exciting for the first 5 years. and then it gets kind of stressful for like the next 2, to the point where I'm feeling guilt because like usually it's my job to find the guests, and then I'm just springing shit on JR, being like, okay, can you record tomorrow at 7? Can you record in 2 hours? And now he can't plan his week because he's waiting for me to try and book someone, and like I feel like I've been ruining his life as we go, because like, well, like there's points where like, what if he wanted to do something on Thursday, and I go, well, I don't know if we're gonna get to talk to so and so before then, and so there was a lot of that. So when we cut it down to 2 weeks, I was like, well, this should give me much more time. He can have his life together a bit more now, and I didn't really have much going on, so it's just what I could do. So I understood a lot of that, and even like after doing it for twice a month. Even still, it's like you get to a point where you realize we think we brought it as far as we're going to. And instead of,
I get that.
Like when Mick Foley would say, you want to try and retire on a high note instead of just keep getting sent down the roster instead.
It's better to burn out than to fade away sort of scenario.
Yeah.
We're gonna go out on top. With our 6 people that routinely listen, but we also have a massive catalog of friends we've made along the way. I think this episode is the perfect example, barring any sort of. For all I know, we could meet up with Ross and Marty tomorrow, and they're like, "Oh, by the way, fuck you guys, we hate you," but that hasn't happened yet. So,
if I've learned anything about them, they won't actually say that to you in person, so you're fine.
But this episode is like the prime example of people that we have had the absolute pleasure of meeting, that had we not started this back in 2012 with our friend Justin, who was one of the original founding hosts, we wouldn't have probably ever met you guys. I don't think I would have ever gone to. I certainly would have gone to Voltaire's Wicked Necro Comic Con.
Fuck, I totally forgot. That's where we is that is that really where we met?
Yeah,
that's the OG.
Yeah.
That's the first time.
That's
the
didn't
first.
even go
Okay,
to that one. Ugh.
this is where I have to tell my story. That every time we talk with Super Art Fight guys, I have to bring it up because we talked with Bracco and his writing partner, help me,
Eisenberg?
Alex.
Mike Eisenberg.
Eisen.
Like,
Eisen.
okay, yeah.
Is it Eisen or Eisenberg?
Eisenberg.
It is okay, yeah.
So Mike used to live in Bethesda, so that's near where I live. He's in New York now.
Mhm.
He went to the same. He's part of the same karate organization that I was.
Oh no shit.
So I knew Mike Eisenberg when he was going to karate camp and handing out zines that he had made. So he's been doing comics for fucking ever.
Right.
It's a small fucking world.
It really, dude, it's insane. Like we chatted with them last year when they were doing Monuments.
Yeah.
And we talked with the both of you. We've never talked with this combination before with Brandon and Jamie on the same show. We've talked with Brandon and Marty and Brandon and Mikey, and we talked with Jamie individually, and it's been this whole thing. And every time I always bring it up. The first time we ever saw Super Art Fight, back when now I know, Brandon, you have since removed yourself from Super Art Fight. Jamie, are you still associated at all?
When Brandon left, I left.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
But to be fair and transparent, my wife is Wisteria, who's currently just recently lost the Art Fight tag belt. So I'm still loosely associated with everyone involved in it.
Hold on. You can't introduce her as the one who just lost. You have to give her the proper kudos, Brandon Chalmers, as the longest
burying his wife.
Come on, man.
Jamie,
Come on.
Now, hang on a second. If I do that, now I'm airing Art Fight's dirty laundry, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Do it.
As far as I'm concerned, my wife is one half of the longest reigning and defending Super Art Fight tag teams in existence, gods and monsters. And dare I say, if you let anyone who is an Art Fight fan try and give you a hard time about how their reign wasn't legitimate, there was a pandemic, they didn't do any shows. We offered to set the rig up in the backyard and have everyone in mass and do it guerrilla style. We tried to do it digitally and nobody wanted any part of it. We tried to push it. It's not her fault that everyone else was too afraid to fight. So as far as I'm concerned,
shit, motherfuckers.
If you're gonna be a bitch, then I guess you can't complain when the time comes to start making the records. So if you see that longest reigning thing up there and you go, that doesn't seem all that long, I'm telling you right now, there is some 1961 fucking Roger Maris Asterix level bullshit that's probably going to happen. Don't believe it. All right?
It's
all right? Birds aren't real. I'm telling you right now. Shit ain't right.
Yeah. See, that's how you fucking introduce her every time you speak her name.
That exact thing.
That's exactly it. That's exactly
So way back in the day,
Yeah.
I believe 2014, Alex and I went to a steampunk-ish fairy pixie type kind of, I don't know what it was.
There was like two parts thing. It was like one part was Necrocomic-Con, which felt a lot like a horror con.
Necrocomic-Con.
And there was at an adjacent hotel, because I forget where in New Jersey this was, like Armpit, New Jersey or something.
Piscataway.
They had like dueling hotels.
Yeah.
Piscataway, is that what it was?
That might be
Something
up the
like
road.
that.
It was nearby. Yeah.
It's near it, yeah.
Yeah, but it was like two hotels that shared the same parking lot and just never bothered to build one of those sky bridges. And like one of them had some sort of like kink con, and then there was a horror con.
Yeah.
Right, and somebody went, hey, wait a second, you got my chocolate and your peanut butter, and decided to just book these things in the same weekend because, it's not a Venn diagram, it's two perfect circles that top one another, ironically enough. And we were just showing up because I think we knew, or still know, James Hatton.
Hatton,
who
yeah.
jumped in, and he hosted a bunch of art fights, and we're still all good friends with Hatton. But Hatton was kind of the, if I'm not mistaken, kind of the coordinator for a lot of this, the MC for a lot of things. And he basically gave us the buzz, and he was like, "Hey, do you guys want to do some sort of like weird Halloween and King Con?" We're like, "Fuck yeah, that seems chaotic enough. Let's do that." Jersey's close. I'll get in the car now.
It ultimately launched this long-standing friendship because Alex and I went down. I believe it was just the two of us.
Yeah.
I don't think Brett was with us that year. It was it was just the two of us. I had never been before. I had no idea what was going on, and it was always this is back early on in the show when we were like, we're journalists. We need to report on this show. We have
media
press passes.
Look
We
at
need to
these
make sure
nerds.
You guys going
Let's
into
talk
that
about
with
cosplay.
that sort of professionalism.
Yeah, we
Like,
were.
Yeah, we're gonna fucking get in here and we're gonna crack this thing wide open,
We
which
were going
ironically
to.
is not that hard.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want Spider-Man photos.
But that's exactly what it was. We needed. I had my shitty DSLR that I inherited from my mother-in-law. I am a photographer. I know what I'm doing.
What camera? What camera? did you
Fuck
Here
if
we
I
go,
know, dude.
fucking
It's a Nikon. I showed it to our like fancy photographer friend once, and he goes, "It's a camera."
Hey, any camera is a good camera if you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, come on now.
But I remember Alex looking over the program, and he's like, "This seems cool. This seems cool." He's like, "What do you think about this?" And it was like typical me being me, like, "Okay, yeah, dude, whatever." Over my head. Yeah, like, it sounds cool, man. And I remember throughout the day it was, okay, so this, and then there's also that thing I mentioned earlier, super art fight. I was like, okay, sure, dude, whatever. And it was an Unleashed show.
That's
And
exactly how you should come to a show.
Yeah,
Sure, dude,
and-
whatever.
Yeah,
I remember walking in.
into all things with that just nonchalant attitude. It sets the bar so low for us that, like, if I come in with just 40% energy and some Sharpie
whatever.
markers,
It's
you're like,
fine, it's
this is
fine.
real fucking good. Like, real fucking good.
That's essentially like what happened, because it was an Unleashed show. So like people were like half in character.
Yeah.
Like there were like some costume elements, but it is historically I bring this up again every time we talk with one of you guys. This was one of my most embarrassing moments in my life.
Okay.
I legitimately
so hang
thought,
one sec. So
me.
the show we're at, for our audience, if they haven't heard the spiel before, so it's part like off-season Ren Fair. It's in that section is part kink. There's also like the Horror Fest and the Comic-Con kind of thing going on. There's like Voltaire, who's supposed to be like a Renaissance musician, and there's steampunk bands that play accordions and shit. So there's a lot of different stuff going on. I saw a Chewbacca in fishnets and a corset, and there's just anything. You can't not expect everything. There's fire dancers and performers. There's people sticking pins to themselves. There's also belly dancers. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we encounter Super Art Fight. Go on, JR.
And I straight up, like the first bout is happening, and 100% believed that Mikey Bracco was Eastern European.
Oh, that's perfect.
I was like, this is pretty neat that they got people from all over the world doing this show.
Like that's
Good on them. And then
Oh my god.
I'm sure
Wait a
Baron
minute,
von Sexwell is
bringing him in.
like the Baron's a character, but that's his real accent. Yeah, of course, sure. Like in this venue,
Right, no,
in this place, that makes perfect sense.
because he never dropped it. He was 100% committed.
right.
It's like the professional wrestling aspect of an art fight show. It's you.
Yeah, keeping kayfabe.
He was in.
Right.
He was in kayfabe, and then I distinctly remember, because it was Unleashed, there are rules. You don't record it. You don't take pictures. These people, some of these have professions, and if this stuff got out, the first thing I saw drawn on the canvas was a guy with huge nipples that were razor blades.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point, Chalmers, you spotted a camera, and if there's anything that has that I never want to be on the receiving end of, it's Brandon Chalmers seeing you with a camera at an Art Fight Unleashed show, because it's terrifying. And I remember like you called it out, hey, no cameras, and Mikey Bracco snapped straight out of his character and just screamed no cameras, and I like leaned to Alex and I was like, he's not European.
Yeah, oh my God. To be transparent, what he is a middle school art teacher. And that's why I was so freaking defensive about this, is like the agreement before we got started doing all the Unleashed shows is like, hey, we don't like to be able to have professional lives outside of this. And this is fun and everything else like that, to draw like, you know, Macho Man Randy Savage eating way too many Slim Jims in an uncomfortable thing. Or what was one of my favorites? You know, Naruto with that Ninetales thing, but, you know, dicks.
Right.
And like that kind of premise being like, yeah, no, we're just going to throw dicks into random things. So like I have to play cop. And it's one of those, like, I felt weird because I felt like John Lithgow in Footloose, but at a kink con, where like I got to be the one guy to crack down on everybody. Like, hey, your life choices are your life choices, and I absolutely support that. But also, fucking put that down. Like, and I don't like having to be that guy in that scenario. But it's like, all right, I guess I got to just fucking commit, because like, you know, I don't want my dude to lose his job. That ain't all right. Like, not for our shit. Like, fuck that. So,
and it was.
I imagine me coming across with no concern for anyone else or the show, suddenly like flipping the lights on to be like, hey, you kids, stop fucking in here. You hear me?
It's terrifying. There was one year at Kineticon where, again, Unleashed show, where you guys historically packed like their largest panel room.
Yes.
This is before they moved you guys to before they moved Art Fight to the like main stage areas. It was actually in a panel room.
Yeah.
One guy refused to put his phone away, and I saw
Chalmers. He had a camera, and he was spotted, and he got the no cameras. He's like, I'm pressed, and everyone's like, we don't care.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's exactly what Brandon started. He was like, I'm gonna throw you out, and like it was, you know, the Dane Cook joke, like it's like dad just hit mom at the dinner table and we're all trying to eat still. Like it's like, oh, can we go back to laughing at Cyclops with a giant penis?
God love, that is probably one of the hardest things, and I give Marty and Ross a lot of credit for trying to pivot from that, because like they entrusted that in me. But there were definitely, weirdly enough, Kineticon shows were probably some of the worst, and it's not like any individual person I remember or whatever it is, but like I felt like I needed to snap people up more in the Kineticon thing, because I think there was just a lot of press up there, like you talked about.
Yeah.
And I don't like to be the like, hey, no free speech sort of blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, it's like, again, respect us. We make it very clear what this is going into it. Like, you're not magic. Like, I don't trust you. I don't know who the fuck you are. Get out.
Just live in the moment. Enjoy the show.
Just fucking enjoy the thing. And like, their ability to pivot after that, where I swear after the one that you were talking about, I think I like basically threw him out and I turned back around and I was like, all right, go have fun, go do your thing, or whatever it is. Like, I felt like a Wisconsin dad to just be like, no, you kids go ahead and have a good times with your video games and your whatnots, all right, and go enjoy yourselves. I'm gonna be over here. And just like, the ability to pivot off of my rage is probably one of the hardest things I imagine somebody else having to do. So God love them for trying to power through that.
It was a thing to behold, but it's where this whole relationship started, was a random trip to Voltaire's Wicked Necrocomicon in the armpit of New Jersey back in February of 2014. I think it was freezing.
Yeah,
it was.
Right.
It almost didn't get this far, because we saw the first bout, and there was definitely a giant dick on the canvas. And I think possibly
enormous,
a trans-dimensional vagina, where like they were entering one side and coming out the other side. And so that one's over. And then I turn to Jar and I can't tell if he's having fun or not. And I'm like, do you want to go, or like do you want to stay? And Jar's like, let's stay. And I was kind of surprised, because I thought like all these dicks,
I have no idea,
and everything, like. It's like, he might not be into this. I don't know if this is what he signed up for.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give him an out.
I get that. He just went through an emotional roller coaster. He watched me yell at somebody about a camera, and then he had delusions of East European grandeur with the Baron, and then had to have all of his dreams squashed. So like, he's over there daydreaming for a second. All of a sudden, he's like, hey, knock it off. You're like, I guess I don't want to fuck that guy then. All right, what else we got going on around here?
Yeah. It was like when I found out wrestling was fake. It was just
yeah, I know.
just rushing. But
Yeah.
you know, it is. But I'm also to the point where I can appreciate it and immerse myself in it still.
Yeah.
For what it is.
Yes.
You know, it's. But yeah, that's where this whole thing started. It's how, and this is a very long way of answering your question for ending the show. But you know, this episode is kind of the epitome of the friends we've made along the way. We're wrapping up and talking with a lot of people who have been very good to us and very kind to us throughout our run.
Aw.
You guys were one of, and even at the Voltaire's Wicked Necrocon, whatever, you were one of the first people that we've ever like approached that we didn't really know fully, especially in person, to be like, hey, we have a podcast. Would you be interested in coming on and talking about this? And I distinctly remember we chatted with Brandon and Mikey Bracco, and it was great. We were freaking the fuck out. Because to us it was like celebrity, like you guys were a big fucking deal to us. And I remember like waiting for the episode to save on my computer because I was terrified it was going to crash. This is back when we were recording in Alex's parents' basement. It was just, it goes way, because that episode way back, the first time we ever talked, that was episode 102. On February 28th of 2014.
Okay.
Yep, and now we're on 445 for the record.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
That makes sense though, but like we had always had a policy of like anyone who cared about us enough to sit down and have a conversation deserved our time. And when you guys were like, hey, we want to sit down and have a conversation, it was like, fuck yeah. And all I could think is reasonably, you talked about where you were from, and I was like, well, fuck it, at the very least, we're going to have some new friends when we get up there and go hang out in Connecticut, so let's fucking do this thing. Like, I was gung-ho right from Jump Street, so I was excited once we got back up after everything and got to Connecticut, where it was like, okay, you guys seemed excited to see us, and I was like, oh shit, we have out-of-state friends. We've done it. We got fans.
Reason to travel.
Right? Yeah, because like I'm used to like people who, you know, are friends of friends or random people who I see at like art fight shows a bunch of times. Where like after the 5th show, eventually like I'm walking through, getting set up, and they're like coming in before we get started with the show and everything, and they're grabbing a beer, and I like walk up to go get, you know, a bottle of water or something like that from behind the bar, and I go, oh hey, how's it going? And they do the like, hey, how are you? I'm good. Okay, thanks. All right. And it was one of those, I realized I am very much the like, mommy, the rhino's too close to the car. And I could never tell if that's my demeanor or that's the show aspect of everything of like, holy shit, the dude's talking to me or whatever it was. But like, it reminded me that when somebody made an effort, I needed to be just fucking arms wide open as much as I could and be like, fuck yeah, let's go. We're going to go on an adventure. You want to hop on my shoulders? Let's go get a thing. Let's go do a beer. You guys like beer? Let's go do this. And like, I mean, fuck, what was the last time we saw each other? It was in Mystic and we went to a fucking trampoline park and stuff like that.
We did. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Because again, I'm a fucking agent of chaos. And we're like, hey, what do we want to do after this? And I think everyone was expecting like bar or restaurant. And I'm like, I think we found go-karts and trampolines. And everyone was like, wait, seriously? It's like, yeah, no, let's do something dumb. Like, I want to make sure no one forgets the last time we hung out.
And I have the perfect story for that. So kind of to break, because we were introduced to you, Brandon, early on. We didn't get to meet Jamie until I think a couple years later.
It was a while.
Like, because we missed you guys the first time we were both at Connecticut. Our first year at Connecticut, I believe, was also your maybe first, but we didn't know about you guys. We were only there for a day.
This sucks. Our man Leo used to be the media contact, and he like approved our press passes. We knew him when he worked at theme park with us, and he was like, "Oh, you guys coming to see our fight?" And we're like, "What?" And he's like, you want to come see the show? Like, these guys do this thing. It's great. And we're like, we have better things to do. Like, not knowing. And I hate myself so much for like not understanding what was happening.
We were real bad back then. No, we needed to get our fucking sea legs under us.
See,
what you guys saw at Necrocomic-Con was us really knowing how to put on a show and doing it in front of a group of people who did not give a fuck except for like you. And ironically, we walked away from that con with like 5 different people that we talked to. I think 4 of them still now to this day, all from out of state, including you guys. So like, I get the idea of like, we had a small show, and at a certain point, you guys got to see one of our favorite things, which is Famous or Infamous do the show for us, because we stopped giving a shit about getting a reaction. Because if we're having a good time, we assume somebody's going to enjoy this shit.
Yeah.
And you got to kind of see that almost that kind of real cooked down, like condensed soup version of us. We were like, man, this is the fucking essence of it.
And like for what it's worth, you guys clearly did something right that first year, because you got Adam Warrock made a song about you guys.
We collaborated, if that's a better explanation on that. Yes, we have a lot of love for Adam Warrock, so I don't want to make that sound negative in any way, shape, or form. I fucking miss Adam Warrock. I wish he would keep doing music, but at the same time, I understand, much like Jamie and I moving on from Art Fight, you guys ending the podcast, at a certain point, you're like, there's some other shit I want to accomplish, and I can 100% respect that. I get it.
But you can only do like solo shows at a fucking comic book shop for so long before you just lose your fucking mind.
I've been to one of those Adam Warrock shows. He did one of those in Northampton, Massachusetts, and it was fucking awesome. It was so dope.
That guy is a prime example of whether the room's full or there's 3 people. That guy puts on the same fucking show and kills it every time.
No. Okay, so what I was getting at, and I apologize for the long-winded version of everything, and I can already, man, this is going to be a long episode.
I told you,
buckle up, everyone, because
we will throw you off any fucking rail you thought you were starting out on. Because that's the way we approach everything. If Brandon and I are having fun, someone else must be having fun.
Right. That's what it boils down to. So I don't know if it was the year after we first saw you guys or 2 years after. I don't remember. It may have been anyways, you guys were back up, and I remember you guys reached out to us to be like, hey, are you guys going to be at Kineticon? And Alex and I were like, oh my God.
Holy shit.
They want to hang out with us. And I remember we watched the show, and then after the show, there were fireworks, and like literal fireworks. And we all went out to get barbecue at Bear's Barbecue in Hartford, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting there at one point because Alex and I were like, we're out of, they're just throwing us a bone, right? Like, we're fucking idiots. We don't know what we're doing. And our friend Colin was with us. And I remember, I have a snap of it, and it pops up in my memories every summer, of Colin and Brandon and I believe Jamie just talking about wrestling. Mm-hmm. And the current booking of AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura and all that shit. Yeah. And like, I'm like, oh, okay, right. We're all in the same. We're pals. We're buddies. We're talking. And then like they kicked us out eventually, and like we're outside. We stood outside talking with some other friends of ours, with Vicky and Allie and all that for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And it was great. And that was when we first got to meet Jamie. And it's just because I believe, Jamie, you're one of the founders, correct?
I am the founder. And Nick DeFabio, we are the co-founders
of Super Art Fight.
Yep.
And we were introduced to the king of brush style and everything that came along with it. There's always the new characters that came. It was just really fun. It was. Again, I keep harping back to it. It's just the definition of the people we've met while doing this show. And we're going to get to the sappy shit eventually, saying thank you. And you guys have always been so kind to us and all that stuff. But not quite. We'll get there.
Well, I have a question. So everybody who's creative, like when you finish one project, you spend a couple of weeks relaxing, and then you're like, I got something else, I'm gonna work on that. So what are you guys doing after this?
I'm gonna let Alex take it. I'm gonna let Alex take that one.
So I think it was 2019 2020 or so, before pandemic, I had put together. had an idea boiling in my head that I wanted to try and make. There's this Tumblr post from a long time ago called The Villain Wrangler, and it was a concept of what if there was a Make-A-Wish Foundation, but kids don't want it to meet supervillains. And then in the comments for that, a lot of people were saying someone should make this. And like, well, no one was making it yet. And I was like, well, this has inspired me, and I love villains, and this sounds like a really fun concept. And after being inspired by Jamie telling me to fucking do it, I was like, I should fucking do this. And then I watched Spider-Verse, and I was like, I don't want to make anything because it's not going to be better than that. And Colin, our good friend Colin goes, no, everyone should make what they want to make and still make their own thing. And I was like, Colin, you're right. And I was like, maybe I will get to it. And then when you talk to this dude, Jason, and Jason, he goes by Chocolate Ninja Cosplay. He's such an inspiring dude that like the next day after we had him on a show, I started writing. And so I did a 2-episode pilot season. And now,
I listened to it. It was really good.
Thank you. And so now I'm working on a full season 1. I'm writing it now. Plan on trying to kickstart some funds so I could pay actors and I could pay people to make music for me and I could pay for sound effects. And so I want to do a few seasons of the Snowballed Foundation, which is about a foundation that wants to bring villains to meet kids and help people out instead of just vilify them, and the difficulties along the way.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. I guess it's years ago now, but I remember you posted those first 2 episodes. I was like, this is some dope shit. I want more.
Yeah, I'm embarrassed that I missed seeing the episodes drop. I'm gonna have to go back and find it, but fuck it, I'm gonna go on the record right now. Let me know how I can help with this shit. I'm in. Whatever the fuck you need, I don't care.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Just keep doing the thing. Like, yeah. The one thing I have learned over the years, especially with Art Fight, is creative people sometimes need just a positive friend to do the like, hey, fucking do the thing. Why aren't you doing the thing? You should do the thing. Yeah, and whether it's driving them to a thing or a positive pep talk or helping them Google something or just a like vent session where they bounce ideas off their head because they're like, this won't work. And then you come to somebody like Jamie and I like, I don't know if this is going to work. And we're like, hey, how about this and this and this and this and this? And you're like, fuck, I guess now I got to do the thing. So I'm glad you already have found the inspiration, but we're going to keep poking at you about this. So keep fucking doing the thing, please.
Excellent. I will. Yeah.
That's exciting.
Yeah. It is exciting. That is Alex's baby. That's all him. I provided some insight every now and then, and I read the credits. But other than that, he wrangled all the kittens. He got all the ducks in the row and wrote and produced and edited and everything, on top of finding guests for the show, on top of recording the regular OMV show, and then also working and having his own life. So I try to give him all the credit I can because I'm lazy. When Alex was talking about at the beginning of the episode, when Alex was talking about finding guests and being stressed because he's inconveniencing me, I'm sitting here with equal amounts of guilt thinking, I don't do shit for this show. I sit and I wait for Alex to be like, what do you think about this? And what do you think about this? And I go, okay, yeah, that sounds cool. And then I do some research and we talk to the person. And then, especially since pandemic started, I used to record the episode on my computer and then I would edit it and then I would upload it. Alex does all that now. Aside from uploading, he records it, he edits it, he sends it to me. I write down some stupid words that nobody reads on our blog post, and then I'll upload it. So I put in a fifth of the work that Alex does, and on top of that, he was also doing Starwell, and it's ridiculous. So I guess maybe that's the subliminal reason why I was like, hey, we can't do this anymore, because it just felt bad for being such a piece of shit for so long.
Feeling
But-
very fucking seen right now because Jamie handles all of the recording and uploading and editing and everything else like that. And-
Hold on. There is no editing. when I
Hey,
work
whoa,
on this.
hang on. No. Time out. Let's be clear here. Jamie wrote a theme song from scratch, recorded a theme song from scratch, did all of the animations for
Well,
both
yeah, I mean,
the intro, the buffer, and the outro, and then goes in and cuts all that shit in. All I do is show up and bring a halfway decent intro and then dumb fuck ideas. I have actively asked him, do you want me to prepare? And this motherfucker has looked at me and went, nah, we good. He's alleviated me of all responsibility. So when he's like, hey, do you want a podcast? I was like, well, I have to be up in 4 hours, so fuck yeah, let's do this thing. Because I don't like to turn the guy down, so I get this theory of like, no. I'm gonna spend time, and this is me like building myself up. Like, no. You're gonna spend time with your friend because he's important to you, and you love him dearly. And whatever he needs, you're gonna go do. And it doesn't matter if it's driving or dumb fucking fart jokes. You're gonna do the thing because you love him very much. Okay. And then we sit here and we wait, and then we come on, and Jamie's like, "How you doing?" And I'm like chugging an energy drink, and I'm like, "We're fine. Let's do this thing. Fucking live it to win it. Ride the lightning. Fuck yeah."
Let's talk about this thing because we haven't even. I was doing my prep for the episode, being like, "Hey, what have they been doing? What have they been up to?"
Ruined it.
Yep.
I was crushed to see that the original website fuckingdo.it no longer exists.
That's news
Like
to me.
when it says nothing to see here with an exclamation point. And then fun fact, when you try to send it in Facebook goes, that's an inappropriate link. Because I sent it to Alex. But anyways, there is a silver lining to this because there is the Fucking Do It podcast, the FDI Cast, Fucking Do It Cast.
Yeah.
Yes.
What are you guys doing?
When we started, we had a sort of like a theme for it. Like every week we would tackle a problem, whether it's like a nerdy show, and we would try to solve it. And now it's just me and Brandon shooting the shit for an hour plus. And it's better that way.
Pandemic really screwed that up to a sense because like initially it had some guidance of like we would take things that like what's one of my favorite ones that made no fucking Dippin' Dots.
Yes.
Ice Cream of the Future.
Yeah.
Right, except it's been the Ice Cream of the Future since 1994 and it hasn't fucking changed.
It doesn't need to.
The fuck it doesn't. I have Dippin' Dots feelings and I did a whole episode on it. But that was essentially the idea is like we would take a practical thing of like somebody complains about something or something that like we as nerds agree we're kind of like, that didn't stick the landing or whatever, and try and figure out a way to kind of stick the landing on things. And we still do it from time to time. Maybe was it the last episode we talked about Jason Momoa joining the Fast 10 cast?
Yeah, I think so.
Where we were trying to figure out where the fuck he would actually shoehorn into anything, and I went into this whole premise about how he needs to be The Rock's brother, and he'll be super great, and he can just hang out and high five. Because initially, Jamie came in with the idea of like he has to be the villain, and to me, like with the way all the Fast and Furious movies have built up, if that villain isn't, I think, what did Jamie say? Jamie, was it Dame Judi Dench you threw out there?
Yeah, I thought
as an
Judi
option?
Dench would be good. And
Right,
then
I
you
thought
said
she
Helen
would be
Mirren
good.
would be good.
Helen Mirren would be good. Right. But like some sort of like, it needs to be some old stuffy white person in charge of all of this trying to bring down the Torettos. Or I threw out the idea, I think at the end of it being Edward James Olmos being the Toretto's dad.
Yes.
Oh my
Mad
God,
about the
dude.
whole thing.
Yeah.
And it's literally just Vin Diesel and John Cena fighting their dad, and that's why it's been such a Toretto-themed everything, is the dad's mad that his boys just can't stay home and work on their cars and live a regular life. They have to follow him into everything, including racing, and also espionage. So, like, that's where it kind of stems from, but, like, with the pandemic and everything, what it ended up turning into, because, like, to pull the curtain back, pandemic happened. I got laid off. I went like 10 weeks before unemployment kicked in. I was in a real dark place, and Jamie was calling me every day, like video calls with his daughter and his wife, and just kind of doing wellness checks on me. And like it was essentially an excuse to spend some real time with someone who luckily I had my then girlfriend, now wife, living with me, and it was nice to have her there, but like she worked all day.
Mhm.
And when she's at home working downstairs and we're in, she's in the office and everything, I can only put in for applications or like in the beginning, I was doing the like, no, I'm supposed to stay home. That's what I'm supposed to do. I got laid off. I know the work's supposed to be there when we're done. It'll just be, a month or two. It'll be okay. We'll come out on the other side of it. And I just ended up sitting at home and like what started off as, oh, it's all right, I'll work out from home, turned into I gained 40 pounds and depression was real bad and I didn't know what to do. And Jamie was like really kind of helping me get through that on a daily, but like especially weekly basis, where I got to do a little escapism. And that's where the podcast kind of shifted naturally into a like, hey, how the fuck are you doing? What have you been, the question we ask each other is, what have you been geeking out about every week? And it's just kind of, what's the thing that enthralls us? Because it's weird how your choices or the things you're obsessed over really do change almost from week to week.
Mm-hmm.
And acknowledging that, normalizing it, and then sharing it with a friend and bringing something that like, Jamie and I come from really wildly different backgrounds. And we really seem to bond on a lot of shit. And I swear it's like the core thing that we both really have is just passion for shit.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that has created such a long-term friendship that like, I don't want to go too many days without talking to Jamie. Like he's a mental recharge for me. So if I can help bring some sort of like, hey, I'm going to bring some fucking chaos energy into your world. So let's go talk about some dumb shit. And, I weirdly know way too much about Neil Young's MP3 player from like 2012.
That was very interesting. Yeah. I had no idea that Sir Neil was into that. High quality mobile music. I did not know that.
But yeah, I think between my sporadic knowledge and just trying to really give a fuck about spending some time with a friend, and that's kind of what the podcast has turned into. And that's what I've gotten the feedback from a few friends who like really regularly listen is like, it's like hanging out with the two of you. Like it's equivalency of like sitting down and having dinner and just having two friends just kind of get into something where we start off of like, hey, how the fuck you been? And then we bring up something that we've seen and then tangent, and next thing you know, like, all right, hey, let's get the check. And then we all look at each other and go, so next week? All right, next week. And then we kind of disappear off into the wind.
We've had a similar thing where friends will tell us, like our friend Ryan, who listens sometimes, he would go, oh, I was listening to my car and I started to respond to what you were saying, but then you're on my radio and not next to me, but I felt like I was in the conversation. And one time we couldn't remember who drew all the designs for the Batman animated series, and our friend Joe was like yelling he texted us in all caps.
Bro,
oh my god. The amount of text messages we get from the head of the podcast network, Keith, about some of the things that we get into, and he's been on quite a few episodes with us, so he is fucking outstanding, and God love him for tolerating me. But like,
we're on the Nerds of Color podcast network, and Brandon is.
I do not belong on.
Brandon
the Nerds
has
a
color.
network.
It is not the one we are looking for.
Yeah, no. At best, I am the driven snow that a dog has pissed in. Like, please understand. Like, I have no business giving an opinion on a podcast network called Nerds of Color, and for some reason. He looks at me and goes, nah, he's all right. And, like, I don't know if it's the fat thing of, like, I grandfather my way in or whatever it is, but, like, genuinely, I'm afraid to take the weight loss seriously because I might get booted off. And I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do on my Tuesdays.
Well, you like food, and that's very important to Keith, so you're on the show. So.
Yeah. The same guy who, when he met me in person the first time, looks at me and goes, you got a real depressed Thor thing going on. Jeez. And I didn't know if I should take that as a goddamn compliment.
God damn it, Keith.
The deepest dig. Right.
You can't. I didn't realize he said that.
Yeah. I'm like, like, you know what, though? Credit where credit's due. Dude looked me right in the eye when he said it. So, like, there was no fear about what I was going to do.
I wouldn't know if
if you're going to go hard that way, fuck it.
It's like, is he calling me fat or calling me depressed? Like, which is worse?
Yes. No, but what I took away from it is positive and lovable in spite of those things, and I'll wear that banner all fucking day.
Yeah.
Hey, you're still worthy.
Are you saying that I'm capable of cutting Thanos' head off? I think that's what you're saying. Oh no, well that was before. Anyway, I'm getting my timeline mixed up.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna yes and yeah, absolutely. And again, if you want some fucking Master Blaster ass help, we're gonna fucking ride in together on my shoulders. Like fucking, let's book a Boba Fett this thing. I'll yell like a Rancor.
No spoilers. No spoilers. I haven't finished it.
Oh my god!
Oh no!
Fuck. Come on!
I got distracted by Peacemaker.
Fuck!
Watch them both.
God,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I apologize. You're right. I'm sorry.
My wife and I do Sunday morning breakfast,
Okay.
and when we watch Sunday morning breakfast, we typically will watch an episode of the latest thing.
Okay, fair enough. I got you. No, none of those things happened. So, okay.
Luckily,
Anyway.
none of it really makes sense right now. I only watched the first 2 episodes.
Cool. All right.
And I've been distracted by Peacemaker, and we're also
okay.
watching The Wire. Yo, The Wire's so good.
Yes.
Oh my god, yes, it's so fucking awesome.
and fuck it, I don't care what it says about my city. Scarily accurate.
Oh yeah, you guys live down there.
Yeah.
I forget.
I'm like 3 miles from the Baltimore City line, which, like, if anyone who actually lives in Baltimore City is rolling their fucking eyes at it for anyone else, they're like, you live 3 miles from that? It's like, yeah, I do. Like, it's perfectly fine and always have. But yeah, I've spent a lot of fucking time in the city, and it is very much like that. There are absolutely endearing parts of the city, and there are a ton of people who are in very rough situations who live really successful and fulfilling lives in spite of all of that. But yeah, The Wire is way too real to be comfortable for anybody living in the Baltimore area to watch. But it's real goddamn good. So please finish that shit.
God, it's so good.
Yeah,
it's that show that everyone always, oh my god, The Wire. It's like Breaking Bad. I think Family Guy made that joke. Like, Breaking Bad is the new Wire, in that people will never stop telling people that they need to watch that show.
Yeah.
But now that my wife and I we're halfway through the last season, and it's like, oh my god, everyone needs to watch The Wire.
Yeah.
But anyways,
fucking Mayor Littlefinger, motherfucker.
Dude, right? Tommy Carcetti.
Yeah.
Like the first second he shows, like, hey, there's Littlefinger, and also
Aberrama
Gold. From he's in Peaky Blinders too.
Oh yeah, Peaky Blinders.
Tommy.
Okay, you guys are fun. So fucking do it. Spawn. Way back when we talked with Jamie, originally back in, God, that was 2017, episode 252. Was the big thing was fucking do it. We went to the Kineticon panel.
Oh my god.
back when they're like, hey. When they're like, hey, you guys have to give us a panel, and we're like, and you apparently this is what I remember was like, we don't have anything. We just want to do art fight, and they're like, no, give us a panel. We're like, fine, Jamie, do
a Sunday panel.
Talk for an hour. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah. Jamie, correct me if I'm wrong, but you had come up with the fucking do it flow chart, and then we were joking around about like, oh, Kineticon wants a panel, and we were jokingly kicking around to you like, fuck it, we'll do an infomercial on fucking do it. And Jamie was like, yo, Brandon, put together a playlist. Let's fucking do this shit. And I was like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Done and done.
Pretty much.
So
yeah.
the
Noguchi system was born.
Yeah. I mean, if they ask you to do something and they're inviting you up to do the show for free and giving you room and board, you kind of, you should play nice. So...
Yeah, so, I have a price and it's surprisingly low.
Yeah,
so
you feed me, you give me a place to stay.
Yeah,
I'm in.
Yeah,
I'll talk for an hour about
I'll sell myself.
So
yeah, I got no problem with this.
While the two of you were doing the panel, you guys had the mics for talking and were inspiring people and taking questions and telling them what they should fucking do. Ross was like live making the flow chart and adding in steps that weren't originally there.
Yeah.
like modifying it as you went.
It was amazing.
It was a very spur of the moment panel. There was nothing planned except for the playlist, and we just kind of I mean, we did it like we do everything else. We go and we wing it.
Yeah, I think the only thing that music wise wasn't planned was me playing Lean on Me at the end.
Yeah.
and having everyone kind of do the like stand up kind of weird prayer circle sort of thing, because I realized it got real churchy real fast.
It kind of did.
It
And,
did
like,
have that like vibe, yeah.
Yeah, like we had a real Pentecostal vibe going on. Like we got done, and Jamie and I looked at each other and was like, "Hey, not for nothing, we could do this and take advantage of a lot of people. We really got to be careful about this shit."
Out of that spawn, and I don't know if it was a direct result, but we talked when we talked with Jamie back in 2017. We talked a lot about fucking do it, and then Jamie Noguchi's system and doing the thing. And if you have a thing you want to do, you should do it. And we saw you guys have been making this show, which is aptly named the fucking do it cast. So I can only assume it was eventually somewhat spawned out of the original, fucking do it. And you guys have been going for quite some time now, 133 episodes, according to the internet, if I have that correct.
I guess I don't keep track of that shit.
Yeah, this is the important thing: is we don't really keep track of the numbers or anything, and we try and put out an episode just about every week. We probably miss reasonably 10 weeks a year.
Yeah.
I'd say on average we put out about 40 episodes a year. Like we try and stay on top of it pretty regularly. But again, it's us spending time together and also trying to inspire people to do things and what have you, and just kind of getting into things. And we probably lost our way in a lot of senses, but Jamie really kind of took the reins, and I'm not sure how we're going to navigate it, because it's kind of one of those projects that we got started as a side thing with Draw Right Now, where the premise is basically to encourage. Initially, it was kind of everybody, but we seem to have kind of shifted naturally to encouraging children to get some paper in front of them and fucking just create something. And I know it's weird and silly to hear our mouths and be like, sure, you two kids, great idea. And like, I totally get that. But at the same time, if I put, a pen or a pencil or a marker in your kid's hand and I give them a giant fucking canvas in front of them, most kids turn into an artist real fucking fast.
Yeah, there was so we quit the show and I went to San Diego Comic-Con and me, Brandon, and another friend of ours, Phil Chan, have been trying to figure out, like, the three of us like hanging out with each other and working together. So we were trying to think of something that we could do as a thing, and this Draw Right Now concept was just kind of up in the air. And me and Phil were at San Diego, and the guy next to us left his table on Sunday. And that fucking just pissed me off, because it's San Diego motherfucking Comic-Con. You stay there the entire goddamn time, even if it's slow, you stupid son of a bitch. Anyway, fuck that guy. We took over his table and it was blank, and I just started sketching some random shit on there. And this kid walked by and he was like, "Oh, can I draw too?" And I was like, "Yeah, hell yeah, sure." And he was drawing some stuff, just random shit, and his dad was like, "My kid's never done this before." And I got to talking with this guy, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, I never thought of giving my kid pen and paper to do stuff. It's always about distracting him with like digital this or digital that or website this and all that other kind of stuff." And like, I think sometimes people forget that it's easy to entertain a kid. You give them a crayon, you give them a paper, and or let her do whatever the fuck she wants, and they'll come up with crazy shit. So Phil Chan and I got invited to a kids con in, I think it was Delaware, and we did the same thing. He had his set up to sell his digital pimp stuff, and then the table next to us, we made it a giant jam session for kids to just come and draw whatever the hell they wanted to. And it was great. And like the eyes on the parents watching their kids do this stuff, like the parents were just like, I never knew my kid had any inkling that they wanted to draw. And I was like, come the fuck on. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck? A crayon is cheap as shit. You haven't thought to give a crayon to your kid and let them draw on a wall or something?
Gotta buy him an iPad instead.
Yeah, like, so I don't know. There's something there. I haven't quite really formulated a thing about it, but I think there's something there. And I think, I don't know, it's,
Yeah,
I think more kids need to draw shit.
we got to the point where like we kicked a design, like a logo design together, and we kind of got a website up and going, and we got chit chatting about something, and then basically like we started to do hey, let's start getting serious about booking some shows and see if we can grow something out of this, because I didn't know if like for a few conventions, I think Awesome Con in DC was the last one that I did. As a panel option, we did Kids Art Fight, where we quite literally had a kids positive wheel, so we called it the Wheel of Doom. We had a separate skin for it. We had kid-related topics on it, and we would have kids come up and do tag team matches with existing art fighters. And it was a big collaborative piece, and the idea was like, hey, you can come up and do the thing. And if you're a little awkward or uncomfortable, whatever it is, it's okay. We're going to do this together. Each one of you gets an art fighter. And each one of you gets to come up and do a great job. And then you get done, and, we all take photos with the kids and big high fives, and we email all the photos everywhere, yada, yada. And, like, that kid gets to feel like a rock star. Mm-hmm. I imagine for quite a while afterward. I mean, at the very least, I imagine the next few days at that convention, they're walking around king shit. And I remember seeing them and being like, you walk past the kid who was there, and you're like, Jaden, what's going on, my dude? And like getting a fist bump from a fucking like 12-year-old and be like, yeah, all right, this kid's having a great time. And thinking that kid's going to walk away from that memory for a good long time. And whether they walk away from it with confidence in themselves or stage performing or public speaking or drawing or something, like there's no negatives to come out of this, provided they don't basically do something terribly inappropriate in front of everybody. And no one ever did. And I know that's me, like, calling out to the world and basically, shooting my shot that some kid's going to do something terrible on stage. But, like, fuck it. What's the old adage, Jamie? Is it don't work with children or animals?
Yeah.
So I know we're kind of like, we're tempting fate in this sense, but either we're trying to eventually, once we figure out kind of what the new normal is for conventions and what have you, and what people are comfortable with, trying to figure out where that goes. But what we really want to do is just encourage people to make the thing. So it's a version of fucking do it that is maybe more for everyone. And at the same time, still having that same mentality, whether I shout fucking do it at somebody or I kind of do the like, no, man, that's the whole thing of draw right now. Do the thing. Just do the thing. Doesn't matter. Fuck everybody else. Don't worry about any of that. Look at me right now. You have the capability of doing this. You will be successful. You will feel good about this. You will add to the world, and you will make the world better by creating this thing. Go create this thing.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild how you start with one idea and it kind of it goes out of your control into something else, and that's still something you're really psyched about?
Yeah. That's been a weird side skill that I learned from doing art fight, but not actively performing an art fight is watching all of these incredibly talented and creative people be like, I want to do this thing. And then they get done. They're like, I think I want to do this now. And immediately having to pivot and be like, that's fucking good too. Yes, my dude, do that now. I just trying to kind of keep that positive reinforcement going, because eventually they're going to simmer that stew down into something real fucking good. And they're going to figure it out. And you just got to keep the heat on them.
When we got our first table at Boston Comic-Con, and we bought like half a table. We shared it with our friend Brett so he could actually do art stuff and sell his art because he has talent. And we're just two dudes being like, listen to our podcast. We didn't have anything else besides that.
Whoa, no. I'm not going to let you fucking get away with. You're not going to let me grandstand about this shit and then get away with, we're just two dudes doing this thing. Fuck you. You just went into a grandstanding thing about putting together a great show. God damn, man. Come on.
So what it turned into was to give us more than just please listen to our podcast. We made a sign that said, share your art.
There it is.
Because you go to a convention, you buy your sketch from Mark Bagley, right? Legendary Spider-Man artist. He's been with Marvel for decades, and you go to work on Monday.
Mark Bagley sketch.
Yeah, exactly.
Nerds got money.
But then you go to work on Monday, and you're around people that aren't into what you're into, and you're like, oh, I met Mark Bagley. I got a sketch of Spider-Man, and like, who? Sports? politics? And you're like, no, man, Spider-Man. And they don't care.
Is he like famous?
Yes. And so what we were doing, it's like, come brag about your cool shit. Did you just buy an original page from Ivan Rice? Show us and we'll tell you it's awesome and you can brag and we'll be jealous. And that was our plan. And it started to not go that way because people would show up and they go, oh, I made this. This is my sketch of Wolverine. This is my panel layout for a comic that I want to publish. And we got way more of that than stuff people bought or prints they bought from someone. And it's here's stuff that I've made. Yeah. And we were not expecting that. And that was a lot more fun than stuff that we couldn't afford.
Yep.
Yeah. It also meant that people thought that we were like art critics, and it's like you're not going to get your big break with us. I apologize if we misled you at all. I respect you, and your talent is incredible, but I have no pull in any industry whatsoever.
You're not undercover CGC graders, like hunting for the next mint condition bullshit that you're gonna vault and never fucking touch, you fucking assholes.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can lick it. I hate that fucking thing.
We were just trying to see some neat, because everyone likes to show off their hey, I got this page of original art from such and such, everyone, and we thought that would be a fun kind of way to instead of just doing the, oh, what are you? Oh, you're a podcast? And then like they're just counting the seconds until they can walk away. But it was neat. It was an unexpected thing. Alex, we also tried to do a scavenger hunt the next year, which we had prizes. Because we had enamel pins made, nice. Which you can still buy to this day at omvpodcast.bigcartel.com.
Yeah, I think so.
Something?
With confidence. One more time.
Is it Big Cartel?
Yeah.
It'll be in the end buffer that I add into the end of every episode. We were giving away pins for anyone who completed it was like a scavenger hunt. Like our favorite one that we did was like, what color is Ben Templesmith's tie? Because Ben Templesmith always wears a shirt and tie to every convention.
A 3-piece suit.
That's cool.
And nobody, everyone is like, so it's what do I get? I get a pin? Oh, and they just walk away.
Pins are dope.
Pins are
right?
For the record, I rocked my Fight on Truth, Cultivate Knowledge pin for years in my public office space setting. Both on my jacket and on my backpack when it's not jacket season. Because it was always fun to just to be in an office or around people with a pin that says "fuck" on it, but they don't know it.
So good.
But it's I don't know where I was going with all this shit, but the fucking Do a Cast, 133 episodes deep. Again, according to the internet.
I think never lies. That's probably right.
Yeah, it's true.
I think we lost some when we converted from one service to another, but I don't know if anyone gives a shit. Like,
right.
I know Keith listens, but that's about it.
Respect. Props to Keith.
Well, hang on, Jamie. We do have that one listener. Was it Victor?
Vincent. Yeah, he's
Vincent. Thank you.
Yeah, he's been following my stuff for a bit.
I was going to say, we do have one dedicated fan who follows the both of us on things and comments and emails and everything else like that. And fuck it, if I do the show by just hanging out with Jamie and knowing that dude's hanging out with us, I'm good.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yeah. I feel like if I paid more attention, I could try to get us sponsors and payments and all that kind of bullshit. But I'm just like, I used to do web comics and I used to try to follow my stats and it never made any fucking sense. So I can't do that now.
At the risk of pulling the curtain back, one of the main mistakes I think Jamie, you and I agreed to is our fight, and I know we were one part of a bigger group, is you try and turn a passion project into a business, and that's when things fall apart.
Yeah.
So I'm good. Like, I'll keep pretending to do ads for MeUndies.com.
Yo, I'm wearing MeUndies right now.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it. I mean, no, nothing is more. Look, let's talk about your balls and how comfortable they are right now, thanks to our friends at MeUndies.com. Now, look, kids, if you go up in the top right corner of MeUndies.com, click that microphone and type in OMV. You're not going to get anything, but you fucking should. So go ahead and write a letter and tell them Your friends at OMV sent you. Now, I'm super good with having that sort of tie-in because I'd like to have other people pay for my shit, but like I worry that it takes away from the fun of everything.
Yep.
And to my understanding, Jamie, and correct me if I'm wrong, and this is probably a bigger conversation you and I should definitely have off microphone. I never expected to make any money from this, and I never expected it to really blow up. So if it ever did, it was by accident.
I mean, we have AdSense, but I don't like. I think it's like a couple of cents.
Yeah.
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 I think I've made $1.
Right. Yeah. Like we are lucky enough to be on a podcast network that helps us out in that sense, and we are forever grateful for them. But yeah, like, you know, I never gave any fucking real worry to that, and I don't know if that was ever the wrong attitude, but no one's ever sat me down and went, "Hey, you need to really start pushing the ads. We want to try and make some fucking money off of this."
Yep.
That's never been a conversation that has ever existed with any sort of real confidence in our world.
Yeah. We ain't making no Leica money. Although, oh my God.
Someday. Yeah, someday.
With something completely the fuck else. That's why we'll exploit children. That's how we'll make that Leica money, Jamie. We'll take advantage of young people.
I mean, hey, their parents are doing it all over YouTube. So
yeah, I mean,
and TikTok and
right, yeah. If Nickelodeon and TikTok and YouTube can do it, why can't we? We're just as big as them.
Exactly. 133 episodes ain't nothing to,
it ain't nothing. Thank you.
Yep. We get it. We get from two gents who started a show. It was just three friends who were like, people obviously care about our opinions on everything comics and movie related.
I get it. Clearly, longevity is the key. I heard the whole speech from Penny Arcade. How do you make money in webcomics? Started in 1999. You guys got in ground floor. Now you're swimming in them podcast ducats. I get it.
Yep. Yeah. You know, it's great.
Fucking Scrooge McDuck in it and shit. I understand.
It's true. I actually did the math a couple weeks ago.
Oh no! Why would you do that?
on hosting fees that we've paid over the last 10 years.
Don't do that. No.
And I was like, I mean, to be fair, you know, we have been fortunate enough to be granted like press passes and stuff to shows. So we've gotten into a lot of conventions for like quote unquote free.
Okay. All right. That's a thing.
But like, you know, it also comes the added stress of like, I have to work. I'm going to this show to work. I'm not going to this show to have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like ultimately we have fun, but it's also stressful because it's like, shit, now I need to like pay attention and take pictures. I
get it. Not every show has art fight. Like I understand.
Yeah.
You're showing up, you're like,
exactly.
Fuck these people again.
Because like we'd go to Connecticut. Connecticut was actually the first convention to ever grant us a press pass, which was pretty cool. And there was one year at Super Art Fight where we were in line, and you guys came up and pulled us out of line and plopped us in the front row like a half hour before the show started. And that was like the most baller. That was the most baller rock star shit that we've ever been a part of. I honestly think that was our peak. Like
I just walk by I would do that all the time. I'd never fucking ask. Jesus Christ, if I've learned anything in conventions, always walk with confidence and not give a shit about what anyone in any of those shirts has to say.
Yeah.
Because the second somebody realized I was part of the show, I would immediately, I either grab you guys on the way in, or I'd go set up and I'd be like, wait, hang on, where the fuck are they? And I'd go walking out and be like, hey, and then immediately be like, you, come on. And you all get to basically look back at the line and be like, yeah, we'll see you guys inside, maybe. Right? And then, because what I wanted, and it was totally selfish in all honesty, is I wanted great people in the front row. And I knew I could feed off of you, because if I went to you and I went, hey, I need you to fucking sell this new person and fucking dig into it, you'd never second guess me in a million years. You'd be like, fuck yeah, this is my new favorite art fighter.
Yep.
And would sell them to the goddamn moon.
Yeah.
Because you're genuinely kind people and you want to see everyone succeed. And you're like, fuck it, why not? That's the whole premise. But yeah, I'm glad that rubbed off in that sense of like, oh yeah, no, pull you guys out of line. Give them that hairy eyeball looking back of like, I'm more important. Remember this face.
Yeah.
This face is more important than yours is.
Well, start a podcast, losers.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll be as big as us someday.
That's the secret to navigating any convention, is going in there thinking you're king shit on Nerd Mountain. I went to a con I think it was like a Wizard World Philly,
Mhm.
with Eric Koh, and he at the time was the head of Udon. But we weren't scheduled to be at that show. Like, he hadn't signed up. He hadn't sent them any money. He didn't do anything. Like, he made no announcement that Udon was going to be there. I meet him in the lobby. He's like, "Come on, we're going." And I was like, "Do we have passes?" He's like, I got it covered." Goes up to registration and says, "Hi, I'm supposed to be here." And they're like, "We don't have you on the list." And he's like, "I'm with Udon. I'm supposed to be here." And he told them that he was supposed to be there. He got us 3 guest badges, which meant we could go anywhere we fucking wanted to on the convention floor and behind the scenes.
Oh my
And he
god.
spent the entire time pitching to editors. Like, he would just go up to editors and hand them the samples and say, like, "This is what we can do. We're looking to, like, do projects." Like, if I wasn't busy at the time, I would have had the opportunity to color like a Snake Plissken book. I mean, watching Eric work that room was the most eye-opening thing I've ever seen, because, like, you know, and the person working the desk, they didn't know who the fuck Udon was. You know, like, at that time Udon had just started to make a name for itself, but it wasn't like a widely known studio. And he's just like, "I belong at this show. You will give me 3 badges." And
He mind tricked them.
he did the Jedi mind trick.
Yeah. I get this though. Jamie, shit, in high school I pulled this similar thing of, I went to a Goodwill. I went and got a t-shirt from a local plumbing company. And then I went to the other side of Goodwill, and then I bought a used ladder for like $18. And I used that ladder to get into fucking rock shows for like 3 years for free.
Yep. I just saw something like that on Reddit. It was guys testing out if you bring a ladder, you can get in anywhere for free. And like,
yep, if you carry a ladder and are confidently like, "No, I'm here to check the pipe. I got a phone call earlier." From who? Fucking look, do I need to call back to the office? Right, yeah, like, if you look slightly annoyed and do the like, "I'm just here to help you out. If you don't want me to check the stuff, whatever happens, that's on you." Most people will cave to that shit, and you get to see at least half of the fucking headliner for free if you show up. Because also, if you drive up and you've got a ladder in a car, type on a piece of paper the name of the company that's on the front of your shirt and just put it right up on the fucking dash. If you look angry and get out of the car and pull a ladder out of a regular passenger vehicle, no one will question you where you double parked. No one will move that shit, because they know you're after hours and you are working fucking overtime and do not have time for their shit. Drive right up to the dock. Don't even think about it. Just get out of your fucking Kia Sorento, pull the goddamn pull the ladder out and be like, "Jesus Christ." Slam the door, walk up and be like, "I'm here to check the pipes." And don't take anyone's no as an answer. Just fucking keep insisting on, "Look, man, shit's on you. That's fine. I'll leave. I get paid either way. I got paid." And just watch people open doors like you end up owning the fucking place.
Dropping convention hacks on the last leg.
Fuck. Yeah. It's how I got a chance at Baltimore Comic-Con to help Peter Mayhew, the original fucking Chewbacca, over to a table, because I didn't think about it. He was on the back of a golf cart. They wheeled him out. They told him he had to walk. Dude had like scoliosis and cancer and all sorts of shit.
Yeah.
He was eaten up toward the tail end of his life.
Yeah.
And I see who it is in the cart. And I'm waiting to get Jamie and I lunch. And I immediately step out of line. I think I had like a volunteer fire crew shirt on or something like that, for like a completely different firehouse in like Pennsylvania or something. And I walked over and I was like, and I literally went, "Mr. Mayhew, is there an issue?" And he looked at me a second. He was like, "Yeah, I need to get over there." And I was like, "This is unacceptable." And I looked right at the Baltimore Comic-Con staff. I was like, "Seriously, this is what you're going to do?" And I was like, "You're going to make him?" "No problem." And I looked at Peter Mayhew and I went, "Sir, I would be delighted if I can be your crutch. Are you willing to trust me to help you over to this table?" And he, big fucking smile on his face, I got to help Chewbacca get to his table. Chewbacca looked at me when he was done, and he went, "Thank you, young man. That was very kind." I got to look at him right in the eye and went, "You made my childhood exceptional. Thank you. Can I get you anything?" And then I bought Peter Mayhew some French fries and a Coca-Cola and took him right back to him. And it's the best fucking $17 I've ever spent.
Yeah.
Don't fucking care.
I'd spend that money.
Right.
I'd spend that money all day.
I spend that money all goddamn day because I get to know that Chewie had a personal thing for. I got to be Han Solo. Fuck everybody else.
No. Yep.
Yes.
Alex, I'm terrified to ask.
We're way over, by the way. Not to scare anyone.
This might end up being like a 3-hour episode.
This might be our longest episode ever. You know what? We're going out with a bang.
We warned you on the pre-show.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm not
we warned
surprised.
you on the pre-show.
It was. I had mentioned. I was like, we're not doing the full hour. We're doing like, because we're meeting up with other member. With. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about it in the intro, if I'm just blowing the spot or burying the lead, but and I pretty much got almost laughed out of the room before we even started recording by Brendan and Jamie to be like, we're not doing a half hour.
Right? Yeah. No. Go ahead, guys. Try and keep us to a tight 30. Good luck with that. Let me know how that goes.
I don't even think we mentioned the fucking do-a-cast until like 50 minutes in. So.
Well, yeah, I wanted to know about y'all.
Yeah.
I haven't seen y'all in a long time. So
fuck it. We're catching up with you guys. That's how this works. Like, if people can find our shit, whatever, fuck them. We're gonna keep recording. I give a shit about what y'all are up to. I want to know what you're doing after this. Fuck it.
This is why I wanted to do this, and this is why it's been nice having the time and the forethought and the planning to come back. And it's like, as we were saying earlier, and like, we might get mushy eventually, and just
good
how just how thankful we can be to just that we've made friends like you guys. Just from, we started off like, you know what, we're gonna read Bleeding Cool articles into a computer, this is what's gonna be cool for now. Maybe we'll go through a couple other websites too, and that's how
we're a news podcast.
And then eventually was, maybe we should do some other stuff. Maybe we'll go to conventions. Maybe we'll interview other people or something. And that's become the bulk of what we do now. But it's just been so wild thinking we would start that way, sitting in either of our parents' basements. And now, like, when a show comes around, we get personal messages saying, when do you want to meet up? And it's like, would I have ever talked to you guys if it wasn't for doing the show? And would you have ever wanted to talk to me? I've learned now, yes, of course, you guys are awesome to your fans and you like engaging with everyone, but it's part of what I would encourage other people to do, to go ahead and do it, start your own show, meet some people. You might make a lot of good friends.
Yeah, absolutely. Because the other side of this is, would we have gotten along? Absolutely. Would I have known that you wanted to spend time with us, joke around with us, been engaging, give a shit? Like, I've met a lot of great fans in Art Fight, and I'm still friends with a lot of them. And we casually catch up, and when we're an Art Fight show, I get the like, holy shit, because I feel like Norm and fucking Cheers when I walk into an Art Fight show, where like everyone's excited to see me, but I have zero responsibility. So like, and that's great, but at the same time, like, I don't get a chance to see friends like you guys anymore because I know I'm not traveling around. Yeah. And shit like that, even as I rapidly approach 40, is like, I still want to fucking go travel and go see my guys. Like, I literally was talking with my wife, and she was like, oh my God, if they do a video thing, can I come meet them? And I was like, yeah, probably. But like, it's one of those, like, I spent, ever since you guys sent me the message earlier about like, hey, let's do the thing, I've been gushing about how excited I am to catch up with you, just because it's been a while.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what's, like, it's why selfishly, it's part of why I just volunteered myself to help you out with your new project of like, I don't want to lose connection. I don't want to have you guys be people who I randomly see on Facebook from time to time and I never catch up with again. That sucks.
Yeah.
And especially, I don't know how to fix that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's through no fault of
Anyone.
of your own. It's
right. It's not for a lack of desire or anything. Like, we all have 1,400 things going on, and the idea of setting a calendar, being like, okay, now it's time to talk to my Connecticut boys. Let's go do this thing. Like, I know that's not how the world works, and you guys don't want to be fucking scheduled that way unless we have something that, like, you're putting out. So, like, it feels disingenuous of, like, hey, okay, this is going to be the scheduled time. I talked to you guys in April. I have one big phone call and we bullshit for a while. And I'm like, okay, you guys have fun. All right, I'll see you later. And then we're good. And like, no, that's not okay.
Well,
like it's a shitty byproduct of leaving Art Fight and doing different stuff, and all of us kind of growing up and everything is we go our separate ways by no fault of our own.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think for me, the panorama has kind of taken the wind out of my sails. Like, the whole thing, like, I think hanging out outside of the con season is perfectly easy to do because we can travel, we just schedule some time to do it. But it's different now. Like, now we have to make sure that we're being safe with each other and like not going to make each other fucking deathly ill. So like, if all things being equal, if we were not where we are today, like, 2 weekends from now, I'd say, Brandon, let's just go up and fucking visit everybody.
Yeah.
Because like we have a lot of friends up there.
Yeah, we have a buddy in Northeast Wrestling right now, Keith Youngblood.
Yeah.
Who we absolutely adore, who we want to go hang out with and go, like, we reasonably could do, fuck it. You know what? I'm just going to, Jamie, I'm putting it on public notice. We're doing a Northeast tour.
Yeah.
because like we have to do that. Like, at this point now, I think we just have to do that.
Yeah, because we want to support Keith. We want to see, like, I think he's doing a title run or something like that. And we saw one of his shows once.
Mm-hmm.
And we've wanted to get out to do more. And by the time it was time for us to try to go out to do more stuff, the panorama hit.
Yeah.
And like, we would have done a whole Northeast thing. We would have taken a whole fucking weekend. We would have seen him. We would have come up to see you guys. Like,
yeah, you guys could have done a trampoline park with a goddamn professional wrestler. That'd have been rad as fuck.
Man.
Yeah. See? Exactly. Because imagine if I had to put you all in contact with somebody who has the background with all the Northeast Wrestling guys, and then you could have had a chance to meet all the people who randomly pop in through there. Then you could have had a Northeast Wrestling fucking tie-in with all the podcasts. And all like, fucking bullshit ass, non-mask wearing, non-vaccinated motherfuckers ruin shit for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm not mad. Everything's fine. It's good.
We could, as much as I want to, and that was actually on my list to talk about. But
Ervin having motherfuckers.
Unfortunately, we do have to save time for the next two guests.
The most important still hosts of Art Fight. Ooh.
But this has been wonderful. This has been everything I needed it to be. My face hurts from smiling and laughing because I don't think I've really stopped this entire episode. I'm kind of jealous of Alex. Alex, is it still up in the spare room?
It is.
Of your house?
Yeah. Yep.
Alex won one of the auctions once.
Oh man, awesome.
At an art fight show.
Oh shit.
And won a canvas or bought, purchased, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Which then
donated monies to charity.
Yep.
That was the Hartford Children's Hospital too. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cool.
And like I have my own stuff. Like I was a contributor to the Cute Animals on Fire Kickstarter way back in the day. I don't even remember when that was.
Years, but no, that's awesome, man. And again, and you know what? I share no ill will with Art Fight. Please absolutely go and support them. I'm sure Marty will probably sell it better than I will, but superartfight.com for all the tickets and details for upcoming shows. Cute Animals on Fire, I believe, is still available in their web store. They have a lot of great stuff. And if you want to try Art Fight at home, that is definitely the best way to do it. And it is something that while I was still part of Art Fight, and I think Jamie will agree with this, something we're both very proud of, and we're both really glad that people get to do. And even if you do the, like, I don't know how to draw, go do the thing. You'll have a ton of fucking fun. I promise you. Mm-hmm. Everyone will come out of their shells and draw fucking stick figures. Quit making fucking excuses. Go do the thing.
Yep.
all of that. It's been a wonderful 8 years getting to know you guys, you and the entire crew, speaking with different variations of art fighters, both past and present. So thank you both for everything. Jamie, thank you for coming up with the idea.
Yeah.
Brandon, for being so kind to us the first time we were ever like, hey, would you want to come on our podcast?
No, fuck that. I'm turning on this ear. Thank you guys for having for giving us the opportunity to try and spread our dick and fart jokes across the world and using you guys as some sort of promotional machine voluntarily, no less, and then being great friends for greeting us every time we headed up that way with open arms and making sure that we had a great time. And you are one of the many reasons that anytime the word Connecticut came up, I got fucking excited like a dog when somebody grabbed a leash. I'm like, we're going to fucking walkies? We're going to go see the boys? Fuck yeah, we're going to go see the boys.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, that's all you guys. So thank you for that. And you're ending your tenure, not the other way around. So we should all be thanking you for a fucking ridiculously long tenure of work and the hours and effort that you both and the entire crew there have put in to create a beautiful and amazing show where people got a chance to sell their wares and have open and honest conversations and share themselves. And thank you guys for just being great friends.
Yeah.
Even in spite of the fact that Jamie and I aren't fucking doing the art fight thing anymore.
Yeah.
The fact that you reached out and cared enough to be like, hey, we want to bullshit with you guys.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Fuck, man, that's rad.
Because we're not doing anything special.
Yeah. We're nothing special. We never have been, but really, we're double nothing special now. Yeah. And the fact that you gave a shit means the world. So thank you.
And congratulations for keeping the ship running for this long. It's amazing.
Fuck yeah.
10 years, Jesus Christ.
Seriously, Jesus.
Thanks, guys. It's been a journey. Thinking back, Alex mentioned parents. Like we started this in my parents' basement. I have fond memories of when we had to move out of my parents' basement because my older brother was moving back home to save for a house with his fiance, and I just remember he had half moved in and we were still recording in the basement, and my brother had hung up all of his posters half naked dudes on the wall.
Nice.
So him and his now husband were half moved into it was surreal. This show has seen so many 4 studios if you count the from home one. It's just it's been a bonkers run, and meeting people like you has been has made it all worth it. It's been 10 years of tons of emotions ranging from just exasperated sighs of oh my god, I'm so tired,
yes,
all the way to can you believe who we just talked to and what we just put down. They said that they had fun on our show. Can you fucking believe what they just said? It's been a wave of emotions, and meeting people like you guys have been. No, we're just circle jerking each other now.
Yeah, it's really delightful for me. So please, by all means, keep publicly masturbating me. It's about time someone did. I haven't been in front of a live audience in far too long.
I'm not gonna lie. During Brandon's rant, or compliments a little earlier, my eyes got pretty wet.
Aww.
Got some wet eyes. Yeah. It's a
little fucking dusty in here. In all fairness, it's a judgment. You're all right.
But yeah, guys, thank you so much for coming on doing this and spending the last 2 hours with us when we said it was going to be a half hour.
Fuck yeah. Like I said, my wife looked at me. She was like, "How long is it going to be?" And I was like, "I assume at least an hour, but we haven't talked to them in a while, so I'll see you in a bit." And she was like, "Have a good time," and just sent me on my way.
I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah.
But this has been a blast. Do you have any messages for Marty and Ross before we get ready? We're talking with them in about 12 hours or 14 hours.
Okay. So realistically, you talk to them in about 16 hours if I know how anything goes. But, I'll tell them because they don't listen, and I'll probably plug Marty's thing better than he'll plug himself. So that's A-okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am one half of the greatest soon-to-be remaining podcast on the internet, now that opinions may vary, is eventually shuttering its doors. I am the former honorable referee Brandon Chalmers, And my co-host with the mo-host is Jamie Angry Zen Master Noguchi. Please put some fucking respect on that name. And we are the co-hosts of the fucking Do It Cast, part of the Hard Knock Media Podcasting Network. And we say with the utmost love, please check us out online. And if you haven't given us a little bit of time, please just open your ear holes, open your heart, and just wash upon our welcoming shores and see if, we're your jam. Because I have a feeling we might be. And, welcome us in. And please know that if I can say anything from the bottom of my heart, if you like these guys, I hope you're going to like us. And we're going to treat you hopefully nearly as well as they did. And please keep listening and supporting your friends and your art. You can follow me on Instagram at @ThatGuyChalmers. Jamie Noguchi, where can they find you and your wares?
Instagram, Jamie Noguchi. Twitter, Angry Zen Master. Just type my name, you'll find my stuff.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep. That's
Easy
what we
peasy.
do. We are easy like Sunday morning.
You guys, this has lived up to all hype and expectations in my mind. Hopefully,
we set a low bar, so I appreciate that.
This is really just a self-serving episode for Alex and I. Like, if people listen to it, cool.
Absolutely.
If anyone listening home, if you've made it through this whole thing, good on you.
Thank you.
You get a pin. You motherfuckers get a pin.
Right? We got plenty left.
Just go ahead and send your Venmo over to me. I owe you $12.46. So just type Brandon Chalmers into Venmo and just be like, yo, I listened to the whole fucking thing. May actually pay you. Like, easily 60% chance I may actually pay you.
All right. I guess that's going to do it. We got through the social stuff. We talked about fucking Do It. There's a lot of curse. I think this episode is the record for the most F-bombs dropped by Alex.
So
Nice.
I've said the F word probably 16 times in total on air in the entire, at this point, 445 episodes. 6 of them were on this episode.
I tend to bring that out in people.
Yeah.
I encourage the F word greatly. So bad Hazel tells me, Daddy.
That's the greatest thing I've ever heard. Okay, we need to end because we have more people to talk with. This has been great, guys.
Wait, hang on. You asked me if there was any message for Marty Ross, and then I went into my own shit because I'm a self-serving asshole. Let's see. What do we want to tell Marty and Ross? Be funnier. Keep doing more shows, I guess, probably. Let's see. Bring back Puppet Ross. That was real good. That's a fucking deep cut. And then what else? Let's see. Listen. Oh, hang on. I'll do Marty a one. Listen to the Rough House podcast, one of the greatest wrestling podcasts on the internet. Him and his co-host Chris like a lot break down all the wrestling news because Marty has been gradually gravitating toward that as being his passion project anyway. So you should actually listen to something he gives a shit about. There's a hot take right there.
I love
say shit the entire time.
You don't have to, Jamie. That's my job. I throw stones.
Holy shit!
Go and listen.
Oh my God.
Go and listen to the fucking Do It podcast, a part of the Nerds of Color podcast network. Did I get that right?
Hard Knock Media Podcasting Network, Nerds of Color. Yes, sir. You got that 100% right.
Nailed it, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure.
Right back.
I am fully. I'm determined to make this not the last time we connect.
We got to figure out something, whether it's you and I start a fucking podcast or something, or we just pretend to start a podcast. Fuck it.
Right. We'll just perpetually be in the planning stages.
We'll be right. We'll do video chats and we'll check in and we'll be like, all right, so let's totally do this podcast. And like eventually one of us is going to figure out how to hit record and throw it up on YouTube. So we're going to have to work this out.
It's either that or once everything's safe to do so, we're all going to have to meet up and go jump on trampolines.
We are 100% going to do that because I fucking miss everybody. And we are definitely doing that. I'm going to spend way too much money buying everyone pizza. Like, way too much.
I went back and I checked my Snapchat memories. That was April of 2019.
Oh,
in case you want to get even more sad.
yeah, I know. That was, in all fairness, I got to visit you guys on my last art fight trip. Like, I had actually, more or less retired and went on that trip. So you are
like a random trip at like an Air Force base or something
naval
shit
base.
like that.
It was a naval base up in Mystic. Yeah. It was my last art fight trip. So quite literally, you all are ingrained in my head as the last trip I ever made for art fight, the last bit of fans that I hung out with art fight. And fuck it, I'm good with going out on top. That's fucking great.
Bam, nailed it.
Yep.
All right. I've tried to end it and I just keep jerking it off.
Yep.
You know, I try to end it and then I just whip it out again and I start cranking. You know, it's time.
Fucking deep. Remember I was talking about that power stance in the beginning? I'm about to gain 4 more minutes on the podcast. You get deep in that shit, right?
All right, that's gonna do it for this section.
Wait, I
got
have
more.
No,
I mean, honestly, like, you know, who am I to say no?
Wait, you should read. You should read Extraterrestrial Girls. That's the comic I'm working on right now. Book 2 is coming soon. I swear. Fucking God, it's coming.
Sounds good.
Is there a website? Is that just on your site? Like working?
School for Extraterrestrial Girls. If you type it into Google, there's our publisher Paper Cuts has like previews and stuff. So you should check it out.
Do it. Go.
Jamie's a fucking Scholastic artist and shit, book fair shit.
Gentlemen, thank you again. We have to end. We have a couple more people to talk to, so we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that right now. Okay, and now joining us for the second half, the latter half. I'm not sure how to put it in a way that isn't going to make it. We're joined by two, both former guests. Again, another configuration that we've never experienced before. We've talked to these people before. We've talked to them with other people, but we'd never at the same time, which you'd think this one would kind of be like the one that makes the most sense, given their positions within Art Fight and so on and so forth. But today we are joined by Marty Date. Marty, thank you so much for coming on.
Hi, hello, a pleasure. Thank you for having me. As you wind down, a smart move. You went. You know what? This is going to be a set number of episodes in and out. Meanwhile, we're just like, we'll go off for 2 years, then trudge on. Let's go.
I mean, that's what we were until like a year ago, and we were like, you know what? I think 10 years is good.
That's very smart.
But we just got very lucky in the fact that it also like lined up almost exactly with 450. So we're like 450 is good.
Yeah. Good solid round number. I like it.
Also waiting patiently for me to shut up about stuff is Ross Nover. Ross, thank you for joining us as well.
Yeah, greetings, weary travelers. How y'all doing?
Oh, you know, we're in it. We're in it to win it.
That is the way to put it right there. That is in the past year and a half, almost 2 years. Let's go.
2 years.
If
LFG,
I was,
let's do the same thing.
If I was in a wrestling match, I'd be on my seventh wind, where you go, you get exhausted for a bit, you get beat up, you get back up, you fight back, and then you get knocked back down again. I'm at around 7.
Yep.
Yeah, that January hump is always the bleakest one, isn't it?
I definitely have been through just like waves and waves of this, where it was like up, down, all around, new routines, new routines, new routines, giving up on all those routines, new routines. We're all over the fucking place.
It doesn't help that up here in New England, we just experienced.
No, that's all you had to say. You're in New England. I'm sorry.
We just had our first dose of pre-spring.
Otherwise known Maryland.
False spring, because yesterday it was 60 degrees out. I was driving around, my windows down. This morning I woke up and there was 3 inches of snow.
Okay.
And it's a beautiful. It works great for the seasonal depression. Just hammers it home.
Can't make plans.
You thought you could be happy, but no.
Yep. So
nature say thee nay.
It's doing wonders on my psyche, and I'm pretty excited. We just spoke with. I'm ruining the illusion. I'm inside baseballing here. Last night we spoke with Brandon Chalmers and Jamie Noguchi, who are no longer working with Super Art Fight, but we still had plenty to talk about with Super Art Fight. They did leave us some notes to discuss. There was you're gonna have to go back.
Not gonna be good.
You're gonna have to go back and listen to their section to get their exact message for you, because I asked, do you have any messages for Marty and Ross?
Oh God.
We were told to bring back Puppet Ross.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Been a while.
So apparently that's something that we have to tell you about. And then also, Marty, I guess you have a podcast that you have to either start or continue. But Brandon was very animated in that.
Okay.
But we got the messages out of the way.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for passing those along. And
you're welcome.
Can we leave messages for them?
Yeah.
I mean, why
While
not?
we're at it.
Let's just bring them into the call right now, guys. Come on in.
Brandon, you're cool. Nice, great. Jamie, hello.
Oh no!
That's it.
Oh no! Now I'm uncomfortable.
No.
But
we-
yeah.
You guys are still working with Super Art Fights, and like I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, that this pairing, this connection in terms of guests, because Marty, we talked to you way back on 224 with Brandon, and then Ross, we talked with you alone on 314, which was, it seems, but it was still like 4 years ago, but we haven't talked to the both of you at the same time, which anyone who has heard previous episodes or has seen an art fight, there's a good chance that you saw Marty and Ross kind of spearheading it and leading the charge, in that they are the announcers, they are the commentators of the show. And two of like from the first time we saw you guys, it was like, oh shit, these guys are on. Like, you guys work very well together.
That's true.
You guys work very well together. You guys, you have that connection.
It's a very strange banter. It is a very weird banter that I don't think either one of us can do a true description of what it is about Ross and I. I mean, I think of Ross as my brother from another mother. That's legitimate. I love that dude.
That was a good rhyme. Did you just come up with that?
I wish that I did.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before. Was that just off the dome? That's amazing.
Yeah, right off the top. No, I love him to death. But even I could not tell you specifically how the two of us are able to ping pong the way that we do. Ross, do you have any insight or thought as to
a little?
how we,
I mean, well, so when we were first going to do a show where we hosted together, the idea was like, at the time we were spending like 8 hours a day, arguably not working a normal job, just AOL message or G-chatting each other. I don't even remember which technology we were on. I think
it was G-chat at the time.
Yeah, we have moved the text chain from G-chat to text message, back to G-chat, over to Slack, into Yammer, I don't know, into whatever, 20 times over. But it's just really a continuation at some point or another. And, so early on when we were doing that first show, it was like, okay, well, we're goofing when we're not on stage. All we have to do is take what happens off stage, move it onto the stage, and try to forget that we're on the stage and see how that goes. And that worked pretty well, honestly. That's at least a lot of the nuggets of it.
We have a golden rule, especially when we're doing a show at a venue for the first time, or we're staring down the barrel of a gun of doing our first live show at the Autobar coming up in April. See that? That's a plug right there. That's how you fit it in. We got a show coming up in April, and it's literally our first show there in 2.5 years, which is unreal to think about. And the rule of thumb we've always had in Super Art Fight is this idea of, if we're having a good time, chances are other people will.
Yeah.
And that's always guided us. So we always just try to find the fun. We always just try to find the funny. And it just helps that Ross and I have a very attuned sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I will say it's been interesting, looking over the past 2 years in particular, not being able to do live shows, doing streaming shows, which is a whole nother conversation. But also Ross just had a child a few months ago. He has a son now. And in turn, we've been like trying different pairings of people for hosting and filling in and so on, and trying to find like new versions of the rhythm and of the chemistry and so on. And it's just weird that for Ross and I, show one, it worked.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
like
I will.
lightning in a bottle.
So it was lightning in a bottle. The one thing that I think, our early shows, we had so much more time to kill than we do now. And we filled a lot of that time by quoting stand-up bits that we both liked, probably way more than we should have. But, there was an initial banter. And I'm so glad, Marty, that you brought up the fact that other people have been doing commentary too, because we've tried to make a space for new commentators more and more, and been slowly trying to figure out what that looks like. And it is so different and so weird to host with someone else, because you think, I get along with this, I get along with Marty, but I also get along with this other person. Maybe we can just like jump, you realize how much it's not just about, okay, I am a good host, but we are a good matched host team, because you go to do it with someone else and they don't pick up the same rhythms. They don't jump in the same ways. Like it's so ingrained in how Marty and I do it that, I mean, I don't know how it's going to be at our next show, April 8th at the Auto Bar, but in general, when Baltimore, Maryland tickets on sale. So when we can just jump in on things, but when you do it with someone else, like they don't know when to jump in, and there is more like that you need to build that rapport, and it takes sometimes like half the show to feel that same level of comfort. Speaking of Brandon did it with each of us separately a bunch of times, and
we got to see one of those.
Yeah, and those are fun. They were really fun to do. I miss Hot Dr. Pepper. That's his nickname. Everyone should use it. And he's great at it, but it's a different pattern. It's a different rhythm to it.
Yeah, it's a very different energy. Fine,
but like Marty and I both know kind of who does intros and who picks it up and who hands it off and all that stuff. And all the logistical pieces, like who jumps in and how are so much more just like naturally just happen with Marty, whereas like with anyone else other than Marty, I have to be like, okay, I'm going to do this intro and then I'm going to pass it to you and you're going to pass it to me. And instead of like a no look pass, it's got to be like very much I am making eye contact and gesturing in this way and passing it to you kind of thing in order to work.
I think we witnessed one of those one time, because I think we were referencing the first time we saw you guys at Wicked Fair and Voltaire's Necrocomicon. And I believe James Hatton jumped in for and like having met you guys for the first time, and then I've only seen him maybe at a Steampunk World's Fair before that, and like that was one of those moments where it's like I'm gonna like softball you the pitch, like here we go, and trying to keep up. But
really early on with meeting James aka Jimmy Hatton is
we have stupid nicknames for everyone. It's not obvious.
I respect that.
but anyway, early on in meeting him, like there was a way in which, sometimes you have a conversation with people and it's just a pleasant conversation. And with some people, you both find yourselves like one-upping each other. And then once one person does it, the other feels the need to do it. And it just starts going back and forth like that. And you get a sense that like, if you took that same thing and put it on stage, it should work. Yeah. And James definitely had that in a lot of initial reactions. And we did a show with him pretty early on, like early art fight. And it went pretty well. And then we went to do it again years later at that show that you're referring to. And we didn't realize how much it had evolved since the last time we did it with him. And that there was so much more of a pattern to it. And there was so much more rhythm to it. And so he was basically, the first time around we were all on equal footing because none of us had done it much. And the second time around, Marty and I had been doing it together for years. And then James was like trying to fit into that. And so it did take more like slowing down a little and handing it to him. He knew what he was doing. It's just like, we'd fallen into our patterns so much, and we had to like remind ourselves that, oh yeah, maybe we need to get out of those patterns a little bit.
You guys had leveled up.
Explain them to others.
You leveled up to 15 or so, and he was still around 6.
Right, exactly. He knew what to bring to the table, because full credit where credit is due. When we first met James Hatton, he was mostly known for doing a webcomic, but we knew him also doing a lot of MC work for Cosplay Burlesque and events like that. And I remember chatting with you, Ross, about just like the way he commanded a room and the way that like, he would deal with hecklers and some of the shittiness that comes with being late night programming at an anime convention. It was one of those things of like, I can't wait till we get there. He was definitely someone we respected from the jump.
When you watch other people do MC work and you've done it yourself, you can't help but make the comparisons to like the things you are good at, the things you are bad at, and the things that other people are able to achieve. And like Marty and I both have talked about this, that like we can do it alone, but it doesn't feel natural to either of us. Like it's too much room to fill. And it's a different task doing MC work where it's like, 5 minutes in between acts or something versus what we have to do, which is like filling all the time. It is live commentary of something that's actively happening. But like there is these moments that you were talking about where like James is much more comfortable with silence and much more comfortable with like walking right up to someone and being like, hey, you, fuck you, in a way that they managed to just laugh off as like, oh, haha, the MC's messing with me. That's great. Whereas like if I did that, I would like instantly be like, hey, I am so sorry I did that. I apologize. I don't know what's happening. Meanwhile, Marty over here will walk up to a stranger sleeping in the audience and be like, hey, audience of 500 people, we are all going to fuck with the one guy that made the mistake of falling asleep in our panel. Everybody gather around.
I will say I have not been as antagonistic of our crowd as I used to be. I feel like
I think we've all grown up.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of growing up. Maybe I've gotten a little soft with age, but I definitely have not been afraid at times to be the one of the two of us to get really grumpy at the audience if necessary.
Yeah, I'm actually curious, like now going back to a show, I mean, I don't want to heckle or deal with hecklers or anything like that, but I do feel like if I approach that now, I have a bit more confidence in being like, picking on them right back or dealing with them than I maybe would have.
Yeah, because you're a dad now. You've got dad power.
Yeah, I've got dad strength now. I need to use it. It's great stuff.
It's very helpful. You've had 2 years of practicing fake arguments in your head, where everyone has it. My favorite time to do it is either when I'm mowing the lawn or vacuuming the house. I have perfect fake arguments in my head that I win every time. My replies are perfect and spot on and can't be beaten.
What does it say that the arguments I have in my head I still lose? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, Tom Cardy. You guys know who Tom Cardy is? He did that song, "Have You Checked Your Butthole?" That was all over like TikTok and YouTube and all that stuff. I don't know.
If you have not checked out Tom Cardy, he's an Australian and he's hysterical.
He's absolutely hysterical. You should definitely follow him in all the places. The "Have You Checked Your Butthole" song is definitely the pinnacle as of right now of the things he's put out. But he just put out one about mind fights, and the mind fights one is really just him having arguments in the middle of the night that he should have had with someone in person. And now he's going to really go to town on them.
I get that 100%.
But we derailed you. You were praising us, and we cut you off.
Tell us more about why we're great.
Yeah, I'm here to. I was going to lump more praise in the fact that it speaks a lot to you guys' ability to kind of stay on your toes. Like thinking about commentate. Like it's so easy to be like, I could do that. That seems like what you just point out what they're drawing.
A lot of people think they can do that. That is very true. Yeah. That has been our experience many, many times. And you know, I was just gonna say, in our defense, when I saw other people do it, I had the same thought, and here we are. So clearly, there's some nugget of wisdom to this. But no, there's a lot of people that think they can do it and bomb.
Yeah.
We've been around. By we, I mean like as geeks and nerds who go to conventions. We've all met other comic book people or people who are into all the nerd media and everything. And a lot of them are sassy or think they're clever, and they always have a joke for everything. And they're really sure that they're the star of the room. But when they actually get put like in front of a camera or has a light, put the stage lights on them, they'll freeze because now they didn't expect anyone to like really pay attention because now what they say matters, and now they freeze up.
Yeah. I think the biggest difference that people don't think about is how much that person wants the attention versus needs the attention. Because one thing that Marty and I try to do is like, we try to be funny and we try to keep the show moving, but we as much as it may not seem like it at moments, we try not to make the show about us. And I think that's the big difference, is a lot of people want to make the joke because they want to be known for making the joke. And that is not the point. The point is to keep everything moving. Always.
To sort of expound upon that, the key difference I've always found, and it's where I think where Ross and I have found our niche, and something I've seen in the real world. I'm about to get on a pedestal about Jeopardy opinions, folks. So strap in.
Hell yeah!
Let's fucking go. There's a difference between hosting something and starring in something. And as an avid Jeopardy fan, I've been watching, especially right now, they're going between, what's his name, Ken Jennings and Mayim Bialik hosting it. Don't know if anyone else, even in my age group, watches Jeopardy as obsessively as I do, but I don't care. Mayim Bialik wants to be the star of that show. It's very obnoxious at times. And you have to recognize when your moment is. And as a host, your role is not to be the center of attention. It is to guide the attention. And it is such a delicate thing to do, to not only be engaging, but also, be that framing device to like showcase others and make them look good, if not better compared to you. And so few know how to do that. It takes a very weird level of both ego and, ego death to be able to do that. And I don't know where or how Ross and I landed on it, but especially as we're looking at what we do and real world things happen and we're trying to expand out, like we're trying to find where are the people, who can possibly do this, but aren't obsessed with being the center of attention, aren't obsessed with making themselves the show. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Ego Death is the band I saw on tour recently. They were great.
One of my favorite parts of watching you guys do your thing, and obviously there's the art, and if it's an Unleashed show, the sheer amount of genitals presented to me
very blue
is just
sometimes
inspiring.
Black or
inspiring.
Red,
but we've only seen it black or red.
True.
But it's been some time. But and I can't remember if we discussed this in the past because it's been years.
Yes.
But your guys' ability to pull out obscure references to movies that maybe 3 people in the audience have seen.
Those are our favori's.
Yeah,
and those are jokes. Those are jokes for us. More than anything.
It's mainly like, is it intentional? Is there an ongoing like side bet to trip each other up?
Yes.
With the most obscure reference? Like,
yes.
is there a winner? Like one time one time Ross dropped this, and literally not a single is there a
Oh my
record
God.
holder?
Well, I
So
think
there's a few.
respectively, Ross keeps trying to make Confederacy of Dunces references.
Oh my God! One time,
But it still comes back up, doesn't it?
But that's more from everyone except me than me at this point.
Fair.
I made one joke about the Confederacy of Dunces, a obscure Pulitzer Prize winning book from like the 60s or 70s or some shit, because I've been reading it at the time of that show years ago, and then no one got the joke, and I don't know why, but I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna explain to you all why that joke was funny for the next 2 minutes, and that
Which
became
always
the joke.
makes the joke even funnier.
Oh yeah, There's
this house-
nothing funnier than a
In
joke.
this house, we explain our jokes. Damn it! And that worked in a way that I was like hoping for, but honestly not expecting. And that kind of like stuck around. And then, but on the other side, like one time Marty referenced the obscure and short-lived Saturday morning cartoon show Camp Candy, and it blew my fucking mind.
Yeah, that was the one I was going to reference. That I absolutely floored you.
You say short-lived, but for some reason, as a kid, I was convinced that went for 5 seasons.
I mean, I don't even know.
Hang on.
According to
look, we're at
Wikipedia, it was
computers.
89 to 92.
Okay, so
89 to 92.
that's
3
that's
years.
3 seasons.
Which probably means there were 500 episodes at that point.
40 episodes
40?
according to Wikipedia.
Every cartoon show from our childhood, one of two things happened. Either it was 12 episodes and felt like 300, or there's 500 episodes and it felt like 10. There's no in between. But seriously, some of these shows, I've gone back and looked at the Wikipedia and they're like, yeah, so they thought they'd give it a shot, so they made 200 episodes. Or others are like, well, they just kept showing the same 12 episodes for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
There's no in between. There's a huge range. But I'm trying to think of other times that we've like really, really killed each other. Marty, what's the time I've gotten you really good? Because there's been some, but I'm like,
I'm struggling to remember because our library of shows is like so far behind us right now that
there was one at the furry show at Furthermore.
So yeah, I just want to officially, for the record, apologize to the universe, because we always said we'd never play a furry con, and we played a furry con the weekend before everything shut down for COVID.
That was it. You did it. That was the curse.
Yeah,
that was it.
Kicked all this off.
Here's the thing. They were wonderfully nice people, and it was
lovely.
just like every other show.
We had a great time. Well, they fed us very nicely, which is a little different than legitimately, like, they had a guest dinner, and maybe other cons do this and don't invite us, which, would make sense. But they had a guest dinner, and it was like, a buffet with like nice plates and fine china and everything. It was like, what the fuck is happening? But they were lovely. But I would say I know this past summer when we played Otakon for our first show back in front of people, I broke you with a Ronald Reagan impression.
Oh yeah.
Which I don't even remember why Ronald Reagan came up.
I could not tell you, but you just went, well, and I lost it. I just lost my fucking mind. Which, by the way, my favorite joke from Ted Lasso is kind of related to that, which is just Coach Beer going, Ronald Reagan, the actor, and it just fucking killed me. But it's just a double joke.
This is what we do, we go out and we try to kill 20 minutes while people draw good. And
I was watching
we just pull out these weird nuggets. That's what it is.
I was watching Spider-Man No Way Home, and halfway through the movie I just yelled in the theater, back to formula, and no one
weren't you alone in the theater?
It was me and my one friend. Yes.
Yeah.
And because it was an Alamo Draft House, there's always a server that's like assigned to the room. And seriously, we went into the room and we were like being all loud and stupid because we know we have the place to ourselves because it was reserved seating, and we saw that we were the only 2 dots there. And then we get in the room and there's someone in there, and we go like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she goes, no, I was waiting for you guys. I'm the server for you too. And so so she had the easiest night of working of her life, though, in terms of tips, we can only represent so much. We tipped fine, but she probably wanted a room full of tips, and we had, we tipped what we could, but it was a really fun showing, and we heard her laugh at things like during the show.
Right.
No, she's learning the hard way, not to encourage you.
Yeah, it was kind of hilarious. But she liked my back to formula line, so that was good.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, my friend didn't. I had to explain it later.
Which again is the key to great humor. Footnotes that always really knocks it out of the park.
Yep. Every time.
Every time.
But
my dad always liked telling me that Reagan used to be an actor and he was a cowboy. And so in
it's not the flex you think it is.
In Cheech Marin, one of his Back to East LA, or like Born in East LA, I think it was.
Yeah.
He's gonna get deported because they think he's an illegal alien. We go, who's the president? He goes, that cowboy guy, Ronald Reagan, or no, John Wayne. He said John Wayne because they were in the same cowboy movies. And nowadays I get to go. I get to be like, Reagan had 80 film credits on IMDb.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he does.
He was a full-ass actor.
I wonder what his last film credit is. Now we're gonna look this up.
Yeah,
because
we're in front of computers.
I'm looking. Don't worry, guys. I'm on it.
Stuff. This is the real nitty gritty that we were hoping.
Yeah. This is really what we were hoping to get out of this.
It was something in 1965. I was really hoping it would be like uncredited as president or something.
He showed up in an episode of CSI.
or no, sometimes it's something stupid like, playing themselves in the Oscars, or something stupid like that. So I was hoping like playing himself in State of the Union would show up.
Like when Obama was on like
just
Between Two
got
Ferns.
cold.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So, Obama's credits are great.
Oh, okay.
He was some good stuff.
Yeah.
He dabbled.
He did.
And I hope everything works out for him.
He
I
was
don't know
in
if
some
acting...
of my favorite Funny or Die videos.
Right, yeah. Yep. Remember Funny or Die?
It was funny.
Okay. So
they made a decision in the end there.
Yeah. How old were you guys when you knew, were told that like Will Ferrell was like a founder of that site? Because I didn't know for years.
I knew when it launched because the video of it was.
And I knew the day after it launched because Marty told me.
Yeah, exactly. Because the first video was the landlord. It was him and Adam McKay and Adam McKay's little kid.
Oh my fucking money!
Yeah,
Pearl. That's her name.
Pearl. Yes, she's like an adult now, which just makes me feel decrepit.
And now Adam McKay does serious movies that ruin your day, but they're also like the best movies. Adam McKay, dude, The Big Short is like the best movie ever fucking made.
Big Short's great.
Big Short's great, and then it kind of went off the rails.
Don't look up. Don't watch that. That's all I can say.
Don't look up the first like hour. I was like, I'm not sure if I'm feeling this, and then the last by the end of it, I was like, oh my god, my entire worldview has changed. But that was a weird one.
It might as well, it's almost an Edgar Wright movie because it does all this setup and then it all pays off in the end.
Yeah.
Yep.
In a way. But it's just a real fucking bummer.
Yeah. And it's true. It's like, well, hey,
and it's true.
Happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like all of his movies could end with, and it's true, and that happened.
Yep. So, anyways, let's talk about our fight. You guys have had to deal with, and you alluded to it earlier.
Yes.
The whole, you do a live show, and it turns out, oh hey, we can't do live
anymore,
shows.
We don't. Yeah.
For a while. And had to transition to streaming. What was that like? What was the kind of adapting challenges in terms of moving a live show to a streaming show?
So one thing that I think we really focused upon the last 2 years is way, way less about what our audience wants from us and what shows we're going to do and how we're going to stay relevant, and way, way more about what do our artists want to do, how do we be there for each other, and that sort of approach. So it has been way, way more like, let's do something because it's fun and it'd be an excuse to hang out than, oh, this is good for our traffic and
Good content, good for the
good
algorithm.
content. Yeah,
Right,
whatever. So everything we've been doing over the last 2 years has been way more about like, how do we stay sane and have fun than like keep things up, which is the nice thing we get to do, is something that is like mildly successful, but no one is relying on it for,
Yeah. It's none of our full-time incomes at all, and
it's not even a part-time income. Are you kidding?
I
you
think
get
we're
income?
all
What income?
exactly. But in terms of what the transition looked like, I think like with a lot of people throughout this, this whole COVID situation, we looked at it as, okay, let's do something that will allow us to keep some level of a profile and keep some level of sanity and some level of competence between now and whenever we can be around people again. So when it started, we were pushing off shows, and we had an On a Bar show set for April 2020. And that got pulled off the schedule immediately. And it was this idea of, oh, well, there may be 6, 8, those early expectations, 6, 8, 10, 12 weeks before
2
we
weeks
can go
to
out.
flatten the curve.
Yeah, exactly. But it was this idea of just, there's going to be a little bit of time where we can't do shows. Let's do some stuff that'll be fun. Let's try, because we'd always talked about, like, is there a way to do this streaming? And that was the impetus of it. Can we find a way to have Art Fight but not Art Fight in terms of a streaming event? Because we knew that having everyone in different places was already going to change the dynamic dramatically. And I think especially if you go back and watch those first few streams we did, yes, they were shows that were checking off every box of, we had bouts, we had artists, there was the Wheel of Death, we had, commentary, all of the things that you think of as Super Art Fight. Mm-hmm. But it was very much, how on earth do we make this translate? I know for me, the hardest part was, I'm so used to, even when we play in front of, 10 people at a con or a live show that totally ate shit, I'm used to some level of feedback.
Yeah.
That was gone. I'm literally, much as I'm doing right now, although I can hear you guys, of course, I'm just talking into a fucking USB microphone in my basement. And right. I hope someone somewhere finds it interesting, compelling, funny, engaging, any number of those terms, or at least is interested enough to stick around for a few minutes on Twitch. And that was probably the biggest leap, that idea of, yes, there's a voice chat, but it's delayed versus what you're doing in real time. It was all about sort of recalibrating one's understanding and one's expectations for how any of this was going to go. And felt like screaming into a void at points. But all of it was about that idea of, we don't want to, however long this goes, we don't want to come out of it and feel like we are completely rusty. We are completely lost in terms of how to do a show. And did that entirely work? I don't know, but it felt good. But you were saying, Ross.
Yes. And we're used to seeing each other, hanging out with each other. Yeah. And we're looking for ways to do something with our own time. And you can only do so many Zoom happy hour kind of bullshit until you want to feel like you're doing something. And so what we tried to do over that time was very much reaction to what our team wanted to do. And I have to give a huge shout out to Steve Boyland, aka Speedy Steve.
Speed. How dare you have his name backwards?
Just saying that to fuck with him. Stevie Speed, who and his fake sponsor Super Cola, who really did a ton of work out of his own pandemic stress, needing to focus on something, to getting us set up with doing that type of broadcasting Twitch thing, and did so much work and effort into making us look professional and set up and stuff that was we couldn't have done without him. or we wouldn't have done without him. I don't know if we couldn't have, but we definitely wouldn't have.
Yeah, it would not be what it is and has been without his significant level of effort and lift. Like that guy within, about a week of us saying, hey, let's try this, put together this really polished OBS setup that just made the show look legitimate, and it didn't feel like we're holding.
And many other people helped. I don't want to just shout him out, but I just he put in so much extra time that I can't not give him a little bit of a shout out. Dan also put in a ton of time. Jesse, who has been doing a lot of streaming on her own, has helped a lot as well. Now that I've started listing some people, I'm going to forget someone else that helped more, and I'm going to be like, I forgot to mention them. But lots of people helped in the Art Fight staff in many, many ways to just like do that. But also because like they were used to doing Art Fight shows and liked doing them and needed an outlet for that and wanted an outlet for that. So we tried to kind of create one. We've also been doing Super Art Fantasy, which Marty, do you want to talk a little about that?
We pivoted to doing some non-art fight adjacent stuff, which was a bunch of us playing D&D. We do that every Thursday on Twitch, and it was legitimately my first time ever playing Dungeons and Dragons. I'd never played before, so I'm having a blast. I play as a rogue, and it's a really wonderful, fun time. All of us are playing, versions of our art fight personas, and it's really fun, and it's just become this nice thing to feel good about. It's like Thursday night, I'm gonna hop on Twitch with my friends, I'm gonna play D&D. Yes, it's also being streamed on the internet, but it's this comfort in, frankly, an uncomfortable time. So it was just one of those
Colleen
things.
Has been acting as dungeon master and has been doing really awesome and putting in a lot of time into doing that. And like, hell, why not stream it? But honestly, like the streaming is so not the point. It's more that like, hey, doing D&D was like a good way to like stay in touch and kill time during a pandemic where you're stuck at home. And that worked out really well. Yeah, absolutely.
It's tough doing something virtually and not knowing what your engagement is. Because it wasn't until maybe 6 or 7 years into this podcast where I was doing some research, and I go, oh, other podcasts like conduct polls to review their listenership. And
what a concept.
And we go, oh, wow, we don't know what our audience is. We think people listen. And doing
I mean, you have like downloads at least, right?
Yeah.
You can at least see that people are downloading it.
Well,
so
we don't know
something.
We don't know the genders. We don't know the ages. We don't know. Well, like it depends on what we pay Libsyn to know like our locations and geographically where the downloads are happening. But I can imagine doing Neo and being like, can someone like just type into the chat, just type anything, just respond, and like, do you beg for those, or do you just do the show like you would normally do? And if something comes up, because trying to watch streamers like do what they're doing, but also read the chat, and the chat goes by so fast. I'm like, how are they reading anything?
I, for me at least, especially in the beginning, it was a lot of just head down, do the thing, and see, just what's happening for us, not even thinking about the chat aspect. As it went on, and we started getting a viewership, and we started having names that I could recognize after 3, 4, 5 episodes. It's like, what's the name? One of the regulars is named Dr. Surgeon Guy, which tremendous handle. But it's like, oh, Dr. Surgeon Guy's in the chat, and I think President Dog is another one, and a few others where it's just like, oh, okay, I know that name. I recognize that name. That person is becoming a regular. And getting to have rapport with them. And something that we did to extend that is, we now have an Art Fight Discord, and a lot of the people who were following us on Twitch, who turned out to be following us in the real world before that, they're on there, and we shoot the shit about a bunch of different things, and as one does on Discord. But it's been cool to find this supportive community, that isn't just, a follow number on Facebook or a follow number on Twitter or YouTube or whatever that, I can have a conversation about a movie with, or we can bullshit about Microsoft acquiring Activision or whatever. and at the same time, it's like, oh, hey, we're going to be doing a live show at blah, blah, blah. These same people are excited. And then you get to have that transcend into the real world where it's like, oh shit, that's so-and-so. And it's so great to finally meet you and put one-on-one together. So that's been another really cool element of this, that in this time where we felt so disconnected, that we've been able to build connections. Mm-hmm. And it's been really heartening in that regard.
The streaming stuff, there was a 2-minute period, maybe like 5-minute, where I was like, we're going to stream. I downloaded.
And you realize it's a ton of fucking work.
Yeah, it's a ton of work and it's stressful. And is there, how much work do I want to put into this thing that maybe 2 people will actually tune in? And this was back in the day. This was a way back. But there's a lot of work that goes into it. It is not easy stuff. I was able to, I remember back when it first started and everyone was hungry for any sort of interaction with other human beings.
Yeah.
When the Art Fight streams were first starting, it was a lot of fun to tune in. It was, not that it's not now, but like it was neat to be able, because I haven't seen an Art Fight show since, holy shit, when was the last time? Kineticon,
so
way back
4 or 5 years ago, something like
right?
that.
I don't think we've seen you guys at a show.
17?
Yeah,
I think it was 17. I think it was the last one that we played, Kineticon.
Because the last one we didn't get to, like, we saw you guys, or at least a bunch of you guys, when you were up doing the show at the naval base, but we didn't actually get to see that show.
Yeah, because it was at a freaking naval base, which so weird. But yeah,
we discussed that at length last night, and the oddity and hey, it all worked out. We got to bounce on some trampolines and throw balls at each other.
Yeah,
but it's been some time, so to be able to see a show, and it was like, I thought and forgive me if it's changed since then. Like, having there's essentially like the whiteboard and the different colored markers, and people would just, it would be like an art fight. It was great. It was a great distraction from the fact that the world was ending, and I couldn't find toilet paper anywhere.
Yep.
And it was just, thanks, I guess, is what I'm getting at for continuing to do that in a time where you didn't have to.
Yeah, well, I think the thing that is so unique for any performer, especially one that really dedicates a significant amount of time to it, is at a point, it's not just about the praise or even the immediate feedback that one gets from performing. It turns into a thing where you kind of need it. It's an outlet that you need to have in your life. And for us, being locked in as long as we were, being shut out from the ability to do shows and just scratch that itch, it got really difficult. My wife calls me out on it all the time. She's like, I can tell when it's been a really long time since you've done a show because you become really cranky. and she's totally right. It's one of those things where you need that release. The pressure builds, and for me and Ross, I can't speak for you because obviously we all go through our own different paths, but for me it's like I need that 90 minutes, 2 hours, whatever on stage to feel like, okay, I got out whatever creativity was in me for this project. And I feel like now that it's out, I can breathe, I can think about the next thing and then build up to that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's similar. I'm a very extroverted person, and the last 2 years have made me realize just how much that is the case. And it doesn't need to be in front of an audience for me. Like, I'm comfortable with that. I like that. It's fun, but especially just over the last 2 years, it's like I just want to be around people. I want to be like chatting with people. I want to be like laughing with my friends, or I want to be bonding with people I'm close to. Like, and you just couldn't even do a lot of that. And it was just so frustrating. And I remember, Marty's probably heard this, but I like, I don't know, June 2020, went for a cup of coffee and had a pleasant interaction with the woman behind the counter and a 30-second pleasant interaction of just about like where they keep the sugar. Is it behind the bar? Do I get it myself or whatever? And then like, oh, thanks and whatever. And it was a short little thing. And I left just like so happy that I talked to another human that wasn't through a screen and was not my wife. And it was so nice. And it just made me realize how much I just need that, just like human interaction with other people. And without it, I go a little crazy. And the show has always been kind of the next step of that for me. And it is something I really enjoy. But because so much of the show is just us goofing, over the years, I've come to be like, as long as Marty and I are goofing, it could be on stage or not. And we get picked on by both of our wives for being the same on stage as we are off. And what they know and that other people don't is that it's not that we can't stop being our onstage personas off stage. It's that our onstage personas are already who we were off stage.
Yeah.
We just took it, picked it up, and put it on the stage.
Yeah.
But we will do this. We will goof as though we are performing, the two of us on a call, just because.
What do you guys feel about and this might just be me stirring the pot.
Mask mandates? Okay, here we go. Let's get into it.
Oh, yeah, we could go into that. I wanted to mention because you guys had gotten into PAX East a couple years ago, back when conventions were happening.
Yes. Yep.
I believe you also did PAX Online.
We've done that
now. We did
twice now. Yeah.
After the East show, I think it was like the next East or the next PAX. I can't remember, but I remember I was thumbing through the program, and Alex, do I have this right? It was East, right? It was a PAX show.
Are you talking about the panel that was not quite Super Art Fight?
But it was a blatant ripoff.
I think it was at Unplugged.
Right. And like it was like I can't remember what they called it. It was like, art fighters or fighting artists, but
art
it was
throwdown or whatever.
Yeah. It was like
there are lots of those. There's so many of those.
I mean, at its core, what Super Art Fight came from was, the origin story that's been told a billion and one times. Super Art Fight came out of a live event at Katsucon called Iron Artist, which was Iron Chef, but with drawing, and all the AV fell apart, and then Jamie Noguchi and fellow co-creator Nick DeFabio, they threw something together, and I was one of the people hosting it at the time, and we just played it like pro wrestling as opposed to like Iron Chef. And
I was eating a sandwich in the front row.
This is true. This is 100% true.
Now, and you could also argue that was kind of the second year of us and our friends taking over Iron Artist, because
the year
a bunch of us that had comics and things kept going to that show, and we had all gotten to be friends, and a lot of that group became the group that did Super Art Fight.
First time or two,
and the year before it, I'd been part of the commentary that year, and Nick basically threw half the rules out the window and was just riffing, and I was riffing off of Nick's riffing.
Exactly.
And like the two of us were having a great time, and the audience went wild for him, even though he was not the like anime drawing one, and generally the person who draws more anime like wins at that show. But he was just so off the wall that he won and destroyed it, and it was so much fun. And anyway,
the point I'm getting at is, Iron Artist is something that's done at a lot of different conventions. Some form of live drawing with audience suggestions, some form of live drawing in a competitive format. It's done.
We
it's
don't
done
own
at a
that.
lot of shows. Yeah, that's not ours. But I feel the thing that we have and the thing that is ours and the thing that we bring to the table, and it's why, even when there are people who try to replicate intentionally or unintentionally what Super Art Fight is, the thing that they miss is our show is about putting artists on pedestals as rock stars. Our show is about taking what can be such a solitary and focused experience and making it as big and ridiculous as possible. And every single time I've seen, because there are other groups, there's art battles, there's secret wars, aka secret walls. Those are probably the two biggest in this similar realm. They're very serious. They're very focused on, look at this cool art we did with our sponsors, blah blah blah. And it's awesome that they're at that level, that what they do has the level of sponsorship. Hey, we'd love sponsors, just saying. But I feel like what makes us stand out and why we are who we are and why we've been able to do what we're able to do is we don't take it seriously. And we try to make what we do so engaging and so fun, not just for the people on stage, but we try to engage and have fun with the people watching it. You aren't just someone sitting there watching art being made in front of you and you're supposed to appreciate that. It's like, no, you're part of the game too. Mm-hmm. And I anytime there is a group that tries to, again, intentionally or not, replicate what we do, they forget that every single time. And that becomes so frustrating to me, because I remember when during that panel, we had you guys, and we had our buddy Cisco. We had a few folks physically there telling us all about it and shooting us DMs on Twitter and whatever. And it just was like, oh, cool. So they took the thing that we do and they sucked all the fun out of it. And
right.
that is so frustrating to me, that you can see what we do and forget the core element of it, which is this is supposed to be fun for everybody. It's not supposed to be like this, very focused artistic appreciation thing. It's just supposed to be fun.
Yeah. And so our show has gotten more specialized over time. Like when we first did it, it was closer to these other shows. And as it's turned into more about like artists and their characters and personas and all of that stuff, it's become less and less of a normal thing. And because of that, we used to actually have guest artists on more, but as it's gotten more specialized, the average artist at a convention is less comfortable doing our show than they used to be, because we've specialized it away from something that is easy to do for others. But yeah, to Marty's point, like enough people do art things that we can't own art show at convention, like that there's too much of those. We didn't own it. We can't own it. That's it. That, and in a way, we like that we have specialized in this direction, because it means we can own that more. And it's more unique than other things like it out there, and it can't be easily replicated. Now, have we seen people rip off elements of it in ways that are very frustrating? Yes, very much so. But also you can't always judge it. You can't always do anything about it, and you just have to. Luckily, I haven't seen anyone do what we do better than us, or be more famous at it than us. We've seen one-offs that do this and that, but not like a full thing. So
I think one of the ones we spotted was either the guy that created or did the box art for Dragoon was doing one of the other panels.
That was the one at Unplugged.
And like you're saying, like, I would imagine him to be serious, even though you're at a fun show with the fun games and everything. But he's probably not going to be on the stage next to Stompadon. Like it's not what's going to happen.
Yeah, he is not going to, or to that same point, the artist that is a part of that show is not going to put on a pair of jeggings and call himself Baron von Sexyful.
Yeah,
like they are going to hold themselves above being the butt of a joke. And I, both on stage and in my personal life, I don't have much room for that. Like, life is just a fun, silly, stupid thing. Like, let's make it as fun and dumb as possible.
Yeah, but sometimes the fun and dumb is to be extra serious for us, you know?
Yeah,
like,
that's true. That's true.
We've actually been trying internally to shift from being like, our show's dumb, isn't it dumb, into like, our show's amazing. Our show is perfect and fantastic. Yeah. In fact, it is so amazing. Everyone should like it at all times, always. Like, and that's the fun and dumb of it. But I'm much more comfortable taking this thing that we put a lot of time and effort and work into and describing it as over the top good than I am talking about it as dumb, considering how much work we put in.
Yeah, absolutely.
In recent episodes, we spoke with a good friend of ours, an artist, and he co-runs a imprint on a comic publisher right now, Rich Woodall. And he was saying there was a point in his career where some of his friends also in publishing and comics would like crack jokes, or his art rep would be like, oh, Rich isn't here yet because he's getting more burgers and stuff like that. And Rich hit a note where he was like, well, I'm going to try and be a serious artist guy. I'm going to try and just, get my reputation that I'm doing this. And then after a very short while, he realized that's not fun. and it's like, it's trying to like make people take you seriously isn't as amusing as just living a fun life. So if your buddy wants to say you eat an entire jar of mayonnaise for lunch, that's whatever. That's fine, because the people who like you are still going to like you no matter what someone else says. And it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like not to totally pull back the curtain, but one of the things growing into a quote unquote proper adult, though I am absolutely still a man child, but one of the biggest lessons that I've had is like, for the longest time I felt like there was a work me and there was a real me. And the more that I brought real me, whether it's making stupid puns or cracking silly jokes or whatever into my professional life, the better I was, because it was truer to who I am. And I think that is such a core thing that sometimes people lose sight of, that people can sniff out artificiality and people can sniff out when you're not being 100% real. Our show is silly and fun because we are a group of silly and fun people who gravitate towards other silly and fun people. Why shouldn't we be that way? Why shouldn't we, engage with an audience that way? Like, I'm, 37 years old and I think farts are fucking hilarious.
They are.
Why not?
That's fair.
Yeah, they're great. But like, why shouldn't I? And why should I not, continue to engage with that in my life? Like, life's too damn short to not have fun with that.
That is one thing that's become blatantly clear to me over, if there's anything that can be taken from this pandemic bullshit, is that it's shown me that life is too short and too fragile to spend all of your time worrying about what like other people might think of you or the shit that you're interested in. Like, I've always like, I've gotten big into wrestling the past 2 years. AEW is my fucking shit, dude.
Right there with you, my dude.
And it went from like, oh, I'm watching this secretly by myself and I text one friend about it, to the like, now I have to like fight myself to not live tweet it. It's just
you should live tweet it just at Marty. At Marty FDI.
Just ping me. I will talk. Like, sorry, Ross, if the rest of this was just 2 hours of us shooting the shit about Wednesday night, we can fucking do that. Like, that's where I'm at.
You can do that, and I'm just going to leave, and that's fine.
That's fair. That's fair, and no one would blame you because I'm a mark, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
In the past 2 years, I've bought more wrestling T-shirts than I'd care to admit to. But then they, it turns out we leaked all your data and we didn't tell you. Thanks, Pro Wrestling Tees.
Yep.
But Anyways, like, it's, and now like I have a copy of the latest volume of Chainsaw Man next to me because now I'm reading manga because it's always something that's been interesting to me. But like the stigmas and manga's nerds, fuck it, dude. I'm gonna do what I want to do. This shit is way too. It makes no sense to worry about it. I don't give a shit if someone thinks I'm a fucking loser. Cool, whatever. I'm comfortable with that.
I mean, I've been getting into some dumb shit myself. Like
what?
I mean, so many. Like for me, the biggest is I had a mustache for a good like 6 months there.
Yeah, you did.
It was a really dumb fucking mustache, and every time I looked in the mirror, I was just like, "Who's that guy? What's his deal?" And
he looks like he's got a story.
He looks like he's got a story. It's so accurate to how I looked at my own face, and there wasn't just an element of just like being more I don't know, cheesy, authentic self more of the time, and like, why the fuck not, and a lot of things just like, why not? Because who the fuck cares? Like, if this is what makes me happy and it doesn't hurt other people, it's going to do it. And so like, I started exercising in specifically always wearing like this cycling cap that just like, I'm a bald dude. Bald dudes sweat a lot, and then like there's no hair to catch it. So working out in a hat really helps. And I just started wearing a cycling cap just like most of the time now when I go out of the house. And now I'm just a dude in a cycling cap, and I'm not even on a bike. And it's just like a hat I like. And it's just like, yeah, why not? Who gives a fuck? One time I was like in like half workout clothes and then like a messenger bag and then a cycling cap. I've definitely been mistaken for a bike messenger, and I took it as like a huge compliment that other people who were bike messengers were like, "Oh yeah, where are you working?" It was great. And then they invited me to a party. I didn't go to the party. I wish I'd been to the party, but I was like carrying my like 3-week-old child while wearing like this like dressed like an idiot outfit, and I just found such joy in like, you know what, I got this baby, I got this dumb hat, I got this like my whole look is dumb and I do not give a shit. And I just like went to the farmer's market wearing that, go and get groceries and whatever, and it's like, yeah, life is too short to worry about anything else. I have not bought new shoes. I've been on the same ratty ass pair of shoes since they needed to be replaced over 2 years ago, and I'm like, I'm not buying new shoes until after this pandemic's over, because who the fuck cares about shoes? And also, who the fuck cares about laces? So like, they are just slip-ons, and my wife hates them, just like makes fun of them for how they're gonna fall apart.
About those laces.
Yeah, she cares. And I've just not bothered. I've just not bothered at all to deal with that, because like, I'll get them eventually, or I won't. I haven't bought a new pair of pants in over 2 years, and
because Ross gave up on
just
pants.
Being an adult. Like that's. I had to buy jeans for the first time in a couple years because I was clean. I'm so fucking old, dude. I was cleaning my gutters before.
Clean them gutters.
Hell
and
yeah!
I slashed my jeans on the ladder, and they were my best pair. And I was
damn it,
distraught. Like I was just up on the ladder, like just standing there. My wife was holding the ladder. She's like, "Are you okay? Do you need to like come down so I can stop holding this for you while you have a fucking meltdown over jeans?"
Not my pants.
They were my best
good pants.
I looked good in them, and they were gray, and they went with almost all of my outfits.
Yeah, damn it.
And then I went back to Old Navy, and they don't even have any gray jeans. So
fucking Old Navy,
ridiculous. But I digress. If there's a thing that interests you, or if that you're like, just try it.
Yeah,
again,
do the thing.
I will say, like Ross said, as long if it's not hurting anyone, just fucking do it.
Yeah,
this is a great segue, I feel, because as right now I'm 41. I've been having dreams about going to conventions. I think I've had at least 2, maybe 3 convention streams in the past 2 months because I haven't done any in the past 2 years. And before that point, I've been doing at least 4, 5, 6 a year, maybe for the previous 8 years. And there's a lot of my contemporaries who don't get it. My family doesn't get it, but they're like, all right, Alex, just do what makes you not live in the basement more kind of thing. And and by just doing what I want, I like comics. I like going to the shows. Sometimes I'll cosplay. People wearing cool cosplays is great. And if the regular people at my other job don't get it, I don't care. Because what's happened is that I've made friends with you guys. Like, this would never have happened. And this is one of the reasons we wanted to have you guys on. To, like, thank you. Like, we've been building this friendship for years. Well, we said it was 2014 that we did Wicked Fair.
Yeah,
and
something
that's when
like that.
we first met. We got our first interviews. And then, like, we've gradually gotten more of you guys on and chatted about your stuff and all the things we
and we've
promote.
hung out like people outside of conventions.
Right.
Yeah. The fact that, like, we know ConnecticCon's coming up, we put in for our press passes, and almost without fail, like a midpoint between applying for press and the show happening, we get messages from you guys contacting me and JR and Colin and Vicky saying, okay, when are we hanging out? When are we getting a barbecue? Yeah. And I'm surprised by it every time, because now I feel like a rock star that someone traveling from out of state wants to hang out with us just because, like, and we've met because we do a podcast that we don't know how many people listen to it. And it's been amazing the entire time.
Wait, did you ever do that poll? Did you ever figure it out? Does anyone listen to your podcast?
It's dumb.
According to the numbers on Libsyn, supposedly there are people listening. I did the math last night where, and again, anyone who does the math on the actual number of episodes is going to see what kind of listenership we have. Yeah. But we're 95 downloads away from 75,000.
Hey,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Again, when you do the math, you're like, oh, okay, that's.
But I mean,
we're not Kevin Smith type, downloads or.
But also,
anything like
you're not tweeting about your wife's butthole, so you're already a step ahead.
I'm not tweeting about my wife's butthole. I'm not tweeting about jizzing on her feet.
Yeah.
It's
already your life is.
I'm on a different internet than you guys.
Well, it's okay. I didn't know about the feet one. I tapped out a butthole. Actually, I can tell you. Sorry for the digression. I can tell you the exact moment I tapped out on Kevin Smith. It was when he was talking about FaceTiming with his wife and daughter in different rooms of the same house. I just went, that is a step too far for me to know about your life, my dude. And that sounds a little sad. So I'm going to let you just be the guy from New Jersey who makes movies. Yep. And I'm going to be a guy not following you on Twitter. That's where
that's fair. Everyone has their breaking point.
Because that just sounded like a real sad short story, and I didn't need that in my brain when I decided to rewatch Mallrats. That's really what it was.
Well, how did rewatching Mallrats go?
Not great. Doesn't hold up wonderfully.
No, I like Mallrats. Again, I haven't seen it in quite some time, but
it's a great movie for its time. But like many movies of its time.
Women are things to win.
Women are things to win, and you've got the one girl who's like 16 and fucking dudes for her dissertation. And Ben Affleck's kind of raping people. Like not great.
Yeah,
we've all learned a lot since then. That's the way I like to put it.
We have.
We made some neat friends, and we spent quite some time with Brandon and Jamie last night. Again, it just turned into one big circle jerk of thank yous and thank you. We appreciate you, but it is legitimate in the fact that you guys have always been very kind to us,
and vice versa. Legitimately, you guys, your crew has always been like, when we knew we were doing PAX East finally. It was like, oh shit, we get to see the Connecticut crew, because that's how you guys are described en masse to us.
You represent the entire state.
Yes, but there's such a joy in with any, and I'm sure there are bands who would say the same about like cities they go to regularly and so on. But it's just like, I know that in that crowd, regardless of how things are going to go, there are friendly faces that I'm going to get to see, and we're going to either talk about how awesome that went, or we're going to commiserate later about how shitty it was, and we're all going to have a good time because we're going to get to do something before, after, during, whatever. And yeah, the fact that we have not been able to see folks like you for the past 2 years has been such a gut punch.
Yeah.
Because it's been friendships like these are truly the highlight of getting to do what we do, legitimately.
It makes because going to a convention is fun. It's usually a good time depending on the show, but you can usually find something that's fun. Where we met you guys was at Kineticon, which is a very, at the time, we haven't been back. They did run a show last September, but we didn't go to that one. But especially the first time we went, myself, I was like, that was an interesting show. I don't know what I was looking for, but and we've talked about it at length on this show, and the fact that sometimes the convention isn't going to happen to you. You need to, you need to find something to enjoy.
Right.
But having met you at a show like that, and then going to Kineticon is fun, but then it's also and then there's the after party, if you want to call it that.
Right.
We get to hang out outside of bears and bullshit and talk about nothing.
Exactly.
And it's just, or sometimes go to trampoline parks and have just god awful chicken wings. I can't remember. We ate at some place before we went to the trampoline place.
Yeah.
It was so bummed I missed the trampoline park. I'm so bummed I missed it.
You weren't on that trip.
No.
Yeah, well, you were bummed to miss the trampoline park. Jessie, in retrospect, is probably saddened she went to the trampoline park. Did you ever get the postscript on that? Because she legit shattered her ankle and had to wear a boot for 6 weeks. Yeah. Remember, she was like, "Oh, I rolled my ankle." No, she shattered that shit. Yeah, we went to some hole in the wall pizza joint in the middle of fuck all Connecticut, and I thought the pizza was okay, but yeah, the wings were questionable.
Dude, those were just just slapped in the gooeyest, lumpiest barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, it was a ton of fun. I remember initially, because it was a go-kart / trampoline place, and I was like, guys, go-karts are right there, and everyone was like, yeah, but trampolines are right here too, and those are better. And I was like, fucking go-karts are right there. And I remember I was getting on my Huffy bike, and then the second we hit the trampolines, I was like, fuck go-karts, this is the greatest thing. And then I got pegged in the face with a ball. And it was great.
Yeah.
And it was also one of the best workouts of my life.
It was look,
yes.
The trampolines are $11. The go-karts are $36.
Right. For 5
there
seconds.
You go.
Yeah. Well, one of these makes a lot more sense monetarily.
Yep. But it's been great getting to know everyone, and also because not only we got content and we got episodes, I think our Super Art Fight / Art Fight associated episodes are probably coming up on 8 to 10 if I had to guess.
Yeah, especially with Mikey having new books to promote every few months.
Exactly. Yeah, he's come on. He came on to talk about creators. He came on to talk about
monuments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then also Super Art Fight and
how about just ties? Do you just come to talk about ties?
I own one of his ties. I was actually on the picture that I took of me wearing his tie once at work at my old job. I had tweeted it, and he's like, "Hey, can I use this on my site?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude!" So it was on his Etsy for a while.
Yeah. So bad news is that no one buys ties anymore.
Yeah.
Right, because they don't need to wear them.
Yeah. The ties are officially in the mothballs, but he's working on hats now. So
I did see that, and
he's gonna be a hat man.
I initially went to jump at.
Yeah, he's Michael Von Dutch Bracco right there.
I went to go. I always wear hats, and that's also more prudent now that my hair is thinning and I'm getting old.
I understand.
Yeah, we get it. We get it. But I'm also a snob in that I have to, because I'm stuck in Fred Durst 1999. I need to wear fitted hats. I just like them better. I like them better than non-fitted, and nobody makes fitted hats anymore because other people are smart.
Yeah,
and I am not.
They're not as much a thing anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah,
I don't know where I was going with that.
You've had a bunch of us on, and you know, to be able to be a part of something like this is a true joy for people like us, because it's a space where we can talk about stuff. Not only have we made many references to farts and buttholes, but also I feel like Ross and I got to actually dig in a bit more about the psychology of what we do, which is not something we typically get to discuss. So you know, thanks for having us on.
Alex and I are very much into probably to the detriment of the show, but it's what interests us in that. Well,
you're ending the show, so nothing's to the detriment of it now.
Right.
Yeah. It's no one can tell.
Now
us.
It's just what was.
Yeah.
We really like how things work. Like, we like the how and the why. Like, you know, we had someone who worked at Penny Arcade on to talk about like Ack Inc. and all that stuff. But then we also had him on again. I was like, can we just talk about like how PAX happens? And he's like, do people care about that? And we're like, we do. So,
oh no, I am a sucker for process shit like that.
Same.
Like,
Same.
I love it. Oh, what? Yeah, you guys want to know? I mean, I don't know. It sounds like we're wrapping up, but if there's like a process thing you want to know,
what haven't we dug into that you want to know?
We've gotten into like the things that I wanted to at least touch on, because this is probably, and it's also fitting in that this is most likely, I don't have total confirmation, it could be our longest episode ever.
There we go.
Which is, again, it's fitting. Also, you know, going out with a bang, we're giving our listeners just one marathon of an episode with multiple guests. I think it's neat. Whether people will actually listen to it again, to the detriment of the show, who knows? But it's been great. If I think of any follow-up, because like processes, it's neat. Like the logistics and how, like, when you go to a PAX, you see the enormous 300-foot banner of some. Is there like a spreadsheet? Like, who at some point someone had to go, this is gonna go here.
Yeah.
How did that get from A to B? You know, like,
everything does definitely start as a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
That's life in 2022. Everything started as a spreadsheet.
It's just, I don't know. It's interesting. Like, and then it also spread into making comic books and artists and how they do their thing, whether it's digital or traditional, or it's just really neat. And it's been a benefit of the show is talking to people that we probably wouldn't have the opportunity to talk in depth with unless it's like at a convention, you know, holding up a line of people waiting for a signature.
But see, that's the thing, is people are willing to, I think the real lesson there is people are more willing to talk to you than you realize, and you just need the excuse to do it.
Yeah.
And if this is the excuse it takes, great. But I mean, I felt the same way. And back when I made a webcomic, I used to talk about this a ton, where it was like, webcomic people are really nice, and having your own webcomic is just an excuse to talk to them. Like, and all you have to do is have made a comic. Like, it's not like you need to have been published or be profitable or be famous. No, you just have to have made a comic yourself, and then you can be like, yeah, I'm a comic artist too. And they'll be like, okay, cool. Like, nobody questions that. There's no like gatekeeping to that. It is just like, oh, you too? Cool, great. You know? And I really think a podcast is a wonderful excuse to talk to people you wouldn't otherwise get a chance to talk to. And that's one of the great things about it.
Start a podcast, people. If there's anything.
For 10 years and only 10 years, and then stop.
If there's anything you can take away 3 hours into this podcast, 2 hours with them, 1+ with us.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, we learned a lot today. So before we totally wrap up, also Ross, it was kind of I was going through our old posts, like, just to see, like, oh, when was it, and like clicking on the system
it was
comic.
Like 2017. The comic's still up, but I haven't made a new comic in a year, and then the last one before that was probably a year. Like, it is like, sparse. Yes.
If I recall, like, the last one was like April 2020, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks.
Yeah. And that one was, sometimes I do that thing where I'm like, maybe getting back to my old comics is like what I'll do in the pandemic. And I was like, maybe it's sitting on the couch and not doing that. That's really how I'm going to get through this.
That also sounds appealing.
Yeah. And that's what happened. But I'm alive. Everything's fine.
Yep.
didn't prioritize doing that.
I feel you. Just because the whole hustle culture and you need to turn every hobby, you need to monetize every hobby that you have.
That's
it's
something
just
Ross and I talk about all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so Marty and I are in this group chat with another friend of ours. Well, Nick from
co-founder of Super Art Fight, Nick. Yeah.
And the three of us are in this group chat called that has a name.
Yeah.
Juckport Tony's Trillions. Which I will not
there's a
explain.
story, but there's a story behind the name.
But it does not matter. No.
Yes.
But no, you can tell it. But
please finish your half. And I'll tell the story.
Like, we have been on the verge of making it into a podcast and resisted, because it's like, it would be fun to like all get together and joke in the way that we do in this thread, but also that sounds like work, and this doesn't need to be work. This can just be fun, and so we just don't. And so it is just this funny group thread, the three of us, that has not been turned into a side hustle yet.
Yes.
Respect.
We just let it lie where it is, but it's me, Ross, and Nick shooting the shit, riffing off of each other, much as Ross and I do on stage and here, but most commonly sharing Twitter shit posts with each other all day, every day. And the name Juckport Tony's Trillions comes from, there was a gentleman who bought Twitter ads with one of his posts, and it's this gentleman named Tony, and he just said, I won the Juckport $1 trillion. That's all it said.
But $1 trillion was also spelled wrong.
Yes.
I forget exactly how, but it was something like $1, like $1, no space trillion.
Yeah, and someone else, how we found out about, someone quote tweeted saying, people out here trying to do real effort with their shit posts, meanwhile this guy beats us all. And we decided, you know what, that's going to be the name of our group chat. It's Juckport Tony, it's his Trillions. And
that tweet asked for nothing and gave so much. Let's be honest.
What more could you ask for?
He really hit the Juckport that day.
The other day, I had a friend who like is going through a lot of rough shit and like needed cheering up, and I'm like, I just went through Juckport Tony's Trillions, pulled 10 links, and just sent them rapid fire to her. It has been just like my resource. Sending shit to other people, but it's funny because you have with any group of friends that one unique sense of humor thing where you're like, oh, this is a Juckport joke, but this is funny, but it's not a Juckport joke. And you start to go through and be like, oh, well, the guys will appreciate this one, but not that one. No, that's not for them.
Yeah. And I'm sure you have group chats just the same where you're like, oh, this is where I'm going to share this meme, and this is where I'm going to share that one.
Well, what's really funny is I'm in a couple places with Marty where I'll watch him share the same thing in 3 places, sometimes the same thing in 2 of the 3 places, and all like manner within that.
Yeah, it's just weird how that breaks down. But if I understood correctly, you were about to ask us where we could be found across the internets. Is that correct?
You can find us in our group chat with Nick in Juckport Tony's Trillions, which is not public, and you are not welcome to.
I'll go ahead first. So I'm Marty, and I can be found many places across the web. My home for all things me is blastoverama.com, blast-o-rama, rama.com. It's a blog where I talk about a bunch of nerdy shit. Also, it has a newsletter where I'll send you 3 things I read this week that I found interesting. That comes out every Sunday. Also, I do a pro wrestling podcast called the Rough House Podcast, which comes out every Monday. I do that with my buddy Chris. So if you are a wrestling nerd like myself and JR, as he mentioned, please check that out. And, of course, the home for all things Super Art Fight is superartfight.com. We are back live and in person at the Auto Bar in Baltimore, our home base, April 8th. Head to superartfight.com for tickets, details, and so much more, and find out where we're going to be next, because it sounds like we're actually doing shows in this godforsaken year. So stay tuned to that. Ross?
Yeah, so all that Super Art Fight stuff also applies to me. April 8th at the Auto Bar. Tickets are available. Go get them. See you at the show. I hope that all happens and is great in the way that we hope. Me personally, as was alluded to, I don't have much of an online presence right now.
Respect.
I'm not doing a lot online right now. Like my Twitter is like a couple retweets and then my Wordle for a while, and I gave up on the thing because no one needs to see my Wordle, really. Like whatever.
How many tries did it take you to get today's?
Today was I think
I got it in 5.
4, but I did it in 30 seconds. And
nice.
So I was
nice.
kind of happy about that. But well, I'm feeding a baby in the middle of the night now, so it tends to be like I'm doing the Wordle at 3 a.m. And my wife and I have talked about how thank you. How much you could just text one word to so many people and ruin their whole fucking day.
Yeah.
Like you just middle of the night text 20 people you know lever. And they'll be like, what? And then 3 hours later be like, what? Damn it! So anyway, keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm not a lot on the internet. I mean, in terms of like publicly presence, whatever right now. Systemcomic.com is still alive. I will pay for that URL and keep the comics online because why not? Mm-hmm. And there is, like 800 comics on there to read. So go have fun with that and go read those. I still am technically on Twitter. You can reach me on Twitter. I'm not, I am not saying much, but you can say things to me. And that is Rosscott, which is ROSSCOTT. The other thing that I'm doing with all my time that I don't really talk about or haven't talked much about is I am a graphic designer, and my day job is I run my own design firm. We're an 8-person firm based mostly, we're kind of spread out, but we're also mainly out of DC, and we do design work for nonprofits and socially responsible businesses. So if that is something of interest, our website is friendlydesign.co. And that is what takes up a lot of my time and doesn't normally get talked about in nerdy circles. But we have done a couple crossover projects here and there with, a thing I care about because of comics reasons, and I get a design project out of it, or vice versa. So, that's always fun. And just like, that's what I'm up to. So there you go.
Neato. Guys, thank you for coming on and doing this and giving us part of your Super Bowl Sunday. To talk about pro wrestling meets live art competitions.
It's our pleasure, and I got to ask you, which owl do you have picked for the superb owl?
I don't really. I'm a Giants fan, so like it would be cool to see like Odell get a ring.
Yeah, let's go Gants.
The New York Gants.
But you're a Giants fan, which means this day is just dead to you. It's a Sunday to you.
Yeah, I watched about 20 minutes of football cumulatively this entire season. None of it was Giants because let's be real. My new interest aside from wrestling has been Formula One, and I can't stop, dude. Oh my god, it's so.
I would much rather watch Formula One than NASCAR any day of the week. First off, there's more turning. There's just more turning.
Much more turning.
There's way more to watch.
Multiple.
But also, NASCAR just looks too much like a normal highway to me. I want to see cars I can't normally see.
Yep.
And doing things that I can't normally see on Route 50, which is
with
all
drivers that aren't just different versions of James and Jim and John.
Yeah, exactly.
It's you have fun drivers and fun. But if you haven't watched Drive to Survive,
yeah, I'm way more into like motocross, like cross, like rally car stuff or Formula One. Give me that shit. Way more. Like that is way more fun to watch all day
long. But as far as Super Bowl goes, I don't really give a shit. I'll probably tune in.
Let's go Lord of the Rings trailer. Come on.
I lived in St. Louis for some of my formative years, and everyone from St. Louis hates the Rams because of everything that happened with the Rams leaving. Well, they didn't just move; they fucked over the city on their way out the door.
Right.
And basically
NFL
took a bunch of money and ran. Yeah, I mean, no, it is not good. And there's lawsuits about it and all that stuff. But talk to anyone from St. Louis, and it is it is, you can't not have opinion on it because of that. Like, it has nothing to do with like how they are as a sporting team anymore. It is just like they fucked us, or I don't care that they fucked us. Those are the only two opinions anyone has in St. Louis anymore.
Mm-hmm. I mean, what else is there?
Yeah, basically.
I don't know anything about St. Louis.
You know what? I took my wife there for a weekend, and we got that was the right amount. That was the right amount of time.
That was correct.
Yeah, great place to spend a weekend.
Yep. Anything longer, can't speak to that. But all right. So we should most Alex, how are we on time?
Almost where we were yesterday.
We're almost on hour 2 of our 30-minute segment.
We're over 1:30.
Yep. Guys, thanks for talking with us for about a half hour, like we told you we would be doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it.
Very much appreciate that. On the blessed day of the superb owl.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully, we're hoping to be in touch. We assured Brandon and Jamie last night that this would not be the end. You know, don't cry because it's over.
Yeah.
Smile because it happened. One time a girl broke up with me and said that to me, and I was like, okay.
Okay, you don't get to say that.
Yeah. It's better that her live, laugh, love ass isn't in your life.
Her mom has that tattoo.
Let me give you some, like, one last thing, which I'm trying to keep in mind, and very much relates to a lot we talked about. We are going to make the show at the Auto Bar, like, we're going to treat it as though we may never get to another show again. So what is everything we've ever wanted to do on a show, and let's do it. And I hope you do that for these last couple shows that you are doing, like podcasts like nobody's watching, and Livy's podcast like it's the last, and all that shit.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, this is a good start doing, a 3-hour episode.
Hell yeah.
That's definitely Uncharted. Because we've done long ones, but we always like split them up. And like last night, we're like,
shit, we forgot to dig in my thoughts about COVID. Let's go. Come on.
Oh yeah,
dig into my thoughts about Uncharted, but we're
the pandemic. Come on, let's do this.
Oh God. All right, you know what? That's gonna do it.
Wear your fucking mask, get your fucking shot, and help everyone stay safe. It's not just about you.
Whiny bitch about it. God.
Yeah. See, like, yes, all of that. 100%.
I just want the phrase "it's not just about you" in the largest letters possible for everyone in this country always.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I am just so fucking okay. We're done. We're done with that. We're done with that. I want to end on a better note. Marty, do you have a fart joke? Like, where is it?
I don't have one. Oh God.
Okay.
Oh man, the pressure's on.
So as you were saying, the three of you with your group chat, and you've been thinking about maybe doing a podcast. When it was myself, JR, and Justin, our other original founder, we would talk about it and like crack the same jokes and talk about comics and stuff. And what really pushed it was our friend Brett, who would like, you need to do this. You need to make this a show. And while we were considering
it's fucking fault.
we needed our friend to give us the extra shove. So sometimes all you need is a friend to lend you that hand and be like, no, you really should do this. You should go for it. Let's tell someone.
Because what the internet needs is more 30-something white dudes talking into microphones and posting on the internet. I understand.
Well, it's not just about podcasting. It's about anything you want to make.
Oh wait, you guys are getting out of the game, so we can just.
Fill our gap.
We can just fill in your niche.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a 1-in, 1-out policy.
Yeah.
The balance of white guys recording their opinions for the internet needs to be restored. So. We're turning to you guys.
Wow.
But anyways, guys, this has been fantastic. Thanks again. This will not be the end, goddammit. Eventually, we will see you guys again when it's safe to do so.
Absolutely.
And I don't know, maybe there'll be some trampolines involved.
Just not for Jesse.
No shattered ankles.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, guys, thanks. This has been great, and best of luck at the show. As everyone stays safe, and vaccinated and masked up, because again, it's not just about you. And yeah, I guess that's it. So thanks again, guys. This has been a blast.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that was our. If you're still with us, thank you. Congratulations. You have made it this far. Your reward is you can listen to our end buffer that I pre-recorded a year and a half ago. And you can get links to where you can buy merch. So thank you for listening. Again, this has been probably our longest episode, our longest single episode to date, if I had to guess. I don't have any actual facts on that, but I'm pretty sure it is. Absolute blast and a pleasure chatting with those four. It was sad, some wet eyes, a couple times. Who was cutting? Someone was cutting onions. I don't know who, but it was great. Can't thank them enough for everything.
It won't be the last onion cutting either, I imagine.
Probably, yeah. We have after this one, because it's 4:45, so we have 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the last one. So we have 5 left after this, with some very important people to talk with, and then that's going to be it. So, but I'm glad we got to have this one. We squeezed it in before. I think the length and it warrants it. It was a lot of fun. I knew there were going to be chonkers right when we started, and I knew it was going to be worth it because they're fun guys, and it was a good time. So I hope everyone enjoyed. Alex, thanks again. Alex set all this stuff up, herding kittens, just wrangling everything together, just consummate professional. You only got to do it 5 more times, and we're on the easy ones now.
Hopefully.
Now it's in theory. Famous last words. So, yeah. That's all I got. I think I'm going to end it. So for Jamie and Brandon and Marty and Ross, I have been JR.
And I'm Alex.
And this has been episode 445 of Opinions May Vary.
Hey everyone, if you liked that episode, be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Opinions May Vary, and on Twitter and YouTube at OMV Podcast. You can also find us on Spotify or on our very own website at omvpodcast.com. And if you're looking for merch, we have stickers and pins available over at omvpodcast.bigcartel.com while supplies last. As always, thank you so much for listening. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and we will see you next time.